Took me some time to get to the place that you wanted me to be. I know it was never you. I just needed to work on me. But now I'm ready. I'm ready to love.
Yeah. Oh. Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're here with a super panel once more again, talking about the last episode on Ready to Love, Make a Move. Yes, if you're on this channel, you are likely to be blocked. So if you're in the chat, just want to make sure you're aware that people do watch and they could block you just like they blocked us. So if you know you're here, make sure you got a strong neck and a strong back and a strong fortitude, because you could be joining the list exclusively as well. Okay, we're here to talk about this latest episode of the reunion. It was explosive. We had Cam talking wickedness and crazy to Zadia. We had Zadia trying to give advice to Ashley about how she should listen. That was crazy too. We have Vern trying to give information to double people to her. That was crazy too. We had Vern letting us know that it was Jabari, not Tabari, in the situation that she wanted. And then found out that Jabari actually had a girl already. And that surprised Tamika and the other host, which I don't know her name. Is it Tamika? I don't know the girl's name. I always called her Egypt, but it's not Egypt. It was
Tanika.
There's Tamika and Tanika.
Tanika, yeah, Tanika Ray.
There's Tamika and Tanika.
Yes.
My God. Okay, great. So you know, there's a lot that was going on, and obviously we saw Sharice at the end as well too, with Maurice as well. Shout out to Sean once more. He's been backing Sharice since the beginning. You know, I can give you your plaudits now to your face. I gave it to you on the other live, but I can get to your face now. Well done, Sean, for backing it, because you was holding down the fort. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, I had you on the crazy list. I was ready to have you committed. I can't lie. But you know, it turned out to be that you were absolutely right about Sharice. So shout out to you as well. So yeah, listen, it's gonna be a great show. And it's going to be an interesting conversation in the next few hours or so. I think Aries is joining as well, so there'll be 5 of us or 6 of us in the end. But we're going to have a good conversation. Keep it classy, keep it cute in the chat, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of uploads. What I think we'll do is just spend a few minutes. If anybody watched the interview with Tabari, you can have your say real quick, and then we'll go into the actual show as well. So again, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you. Stay locked and stay loaded. All right, gang. Listen, you know, before we get into Ready to Love, Make a Move, we had an interview with Tabari today. I don't know if any of you guys saw it or caught any parts of it. Just wanted to get your quick thoughts, what you thought about the interview. Did it change your perspective on Tabari? Did it change your perspective on Vern? Do you see things differently now? Is it still the same? What is your thoughts to that situation? Araba looks ready. So, Araba, thank you.
Sure. So, first impressions of Tabari, I think it's a class act. He is gracious. At least the way he handled that interview was gracious. I think he was able to reflect on what was done and what was not done throughout the process. He also received critique very well. Like when you try to get him to kind of like highlight some weak points of his, I like how he was receptive, right? Because I think one thing that's frustrating about the people on the show is they have not been receptive to critique. So I really thought it was refreshing how Tabari was able to kind of, you know, take everything all in. I do kind of feel for the guy because I think he feels very deeply, and he can kind of get a little too emotionally invested into something without safeguarding his heart. And I think a lot of that may stem from rejection. You know, he gave us his little spiel on um, his early life and everything that came with that. So I think I can kind of see why he stuck in with Vern a little bit longer than he should have. But overall, I thought it was a great interview. I think we got a better understanding of where the communication gaps were. All in all, I just don't think they were a match for each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. I wish them both the best of luck, and yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else want to take it on? What they thought about Jabari today in an interview? Yes, Sean, go for it.
Yeah, I'll go. I mean, I thought it was a really, really refreshing interview. I mean, it wasn't like I got anything new. It's just more of an expanded version of seeing, seeing a little bit more of his story in the background. But, it just confirmed they really weren't a match, and Vern really just wasn't into him. And I think it gave some color around. I like the fact that we got some color around like what happened in that exit scene when she, told him to, she wasn't going to move forward with him. A lot of people speculated that she said some hurtful things, and it just actually rung true that she did. She said some things that hurt his feelings. So interesting.
Yeah. Jay or Aries can take it next. What's your thoughts on the Jabari? Did you get anything different? Did you learn anything? Aries, I know you was quite strong in your opinion in the chat.
Woo! I was because, and I thought it was a great interview. I really did. It was good to learn more about the motivation, behind it, because I think that was one of the things. It's like, okay, well, if you didn't feel the energy and she didn't feel it, then why you stay, or whatever. And he kind of gave some insight on that about, he talked about how, in the beginning of it, when he talked about the optics, of things, and he didn't want to lose. He wanted to win, basically. So he wasn't going to just give in. So I think I liked his honesty about how he, I don't feel like he was like totally taking accountability for everything, but he was pretty honest on some things. Like he talked about his past and, some stuff that was not necessarily, shining light on him to make him look the best, but he kept it real, there. So I did like that part. I just was kind of like, there was a point where, we're talking and he emphasized that it was only 2 weeks. So like I brought the violin out at one point because I'm like, bro, you're dragging it a little bit. Like he was kind of dragging the pain and the hurt that he was feeling a little longer than I felt that was necessary. This is my personal opinion. Now, I'm not saying that he couldn't feel bad and, whatever Vern, but I do think that he thought that little bit of texting he was doing was enough to make her excited about him. And I understood the other side of it. I'm not saying that Vern was right at all. Like there's a lot of work that both sides could have done, but I felt like he was like, when he read the text that he was trying to justify to you, it was like, I sent some songs and some, whatever. I'm like, are you talking? That's why you don't know what she brings to the table. Y'all aren't talking. You could be saying that, we filmed and we're sitting there for 2 hours. It's different filming than it is talking in real life and actually getting to know someone. Y'all only been talking for 2 weeks. There's plenty more questions to ask. Just because y'all was having this date on camera doesn't mean that you got enough information to get what you needed for both of y'all. Now, behind what I feel, she didn't like him, period. He didn't like her either. He let us know that from his interview that she wasn't even the first person that he thought was, or the second that he was initially attracted to. So I just feel like, at the end of the day, they made both. It was the right decision that they are not together. So I think everybody could agree that was how it should have happened. I do think that there was a point because, again, y'all, he's in radio. He was in there. I mean, it was just very long and drawn out about how bad he was feeling about everything. I just kind of felt there was a little bit of color added there. That, he got, some sympathy. I think he seems like a decent dude. I don't think he's a bad guy. So that was mine.
Aries trying not to get blocked by Vern. That's what she said.
I feel that I was genuinely, because people were coming hecka hard on Vern, which I think they had justified reasons for that, you know, for a lot of reasons, but I didn't want it to seem like, oh, he's a good dude. She missed out on him and she fumbled. And it's like, who said she fumbled? Just because somebody's a good dude. Okay, but he was a good dude who said he was a cheater in his relationship and stuff too. So, okay, how good of a dude is he? Like, everybody has something, right? So it's like, okay, he could be a decent person and have stuff going for himself. That doesn't mean that she necessarily fumbled or he fumbled. They just weren't right from the beginning. It just, you know, she had to get rid of Jabari because he wasn't right either. But you know, that's just how it is.
I'm with you on that. And I think sometimes that happens where, you know, when two people don't work out, they'll be like, oh, well, you know, you passed or you missed up on a good person when they just weren't meant to be. I do think that's the case, but I do think she was a little mean to him. And I think sometimes everybody's sensitivity level and what impacts them is different, you know? So I think he was being genuine. I might not necessarily react the same. You know, but that's because I still got inner petty in me. So even if I felt that way, I'm not going to let you see me, you know, be visibly upset even if I am. But sometimes you get your feelings hurt. You know, you get your little feelings hurt. And, you know, he had to slide down the wall a little bit. So he was just, you know, having his emotional
And I might
moment.
be taking it a little personal because people was doing the same thing to me when I didn't pick oh boy at the end of my season. So they was like, oh, you like y'all don't know everything. Okay, calm down. This is the DMs are open. Y'all who feel like she will go holler at him since he's so good.
FYI, Aries, they're trying to set you up with Tabari in the chat.
I shut that down long ago. That's not an option. It's not something to talk about. Nope, no, thank you. I'm not interested.
And remember, who had your back, Aries, with the whole stability?
And you have my back.
Every season, I'm getting crucified out here for somebody.
I still don't have a back for stability.
I have to know you, but I don't even know Sharice.
Right, I had to cut Kojo out of his DMs back. I was like, Negro, calm it down, bro. Calm it down.
Oh, stability, old ass. All right. My bad. Jay, go for it. Sorry.
What I got out of the conversation is that these two are like ions. They repel each other. They so similar. They're very much so. The difference between the two, and here come my block party, is that Tabari can go ahead and take criticism and self-reflect and learn from stuff, whereas the other party, they don't want to hear and they gonna stand on theirs. So, you know, it wasn't gonna work just from that alone. But I just, you know, I like how at the end he took your criticism, your feedback. Let me say it like that, and not criticism, because everybody hears that and hears it negatively. But he took your feedback, hopefully he's seen how he just ignored the signs for his winning attitude, and going forward, he can use better discernment and not just try to win a person, but actually win at love. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that I found was missing out of the thing is that he seems at this point in his life seems to approach a relationship and marriage more so from a business stance than from actually trying to find a genuine connection with somebody, because everything was about, you know, having that person at the end to, you know, live the last of your days with, more so than finding this person right now that I actually feel that I love and want to spend the rest of my days with, you know. And that's what actually keeps a marriage going, is because you remember why you fell in love in the first place to even fight for it continuously throughout the marriage. So I think for him, he might be better suited if he tries to go for actual love, and just instead of trying to find somebody to fill a void in his life right now.
Fair points. Glenn, I don't know if you watched the interview with Jabari. If you did,
yeah, I did. I kind of agree with Jay, man. He has to find love. That's something he can grow into, right? I think that what stood out to me was he's trying to win, right? It's not a competition, not a contest. It's not a win-loss situation, and you're trying to win somebody who doesn't want you, right? You were trying to win somebody who's talking bad at you, somebody who's giving you narcissistic vibes, right? I ain't blocked yet, so but you're giving somebody who give you some narcissistic vibes, and again, who doesn't really want you, but she's there for her own gain. And I think that was the biggest thing. I like the fact that he was able to take feedback and was able to go back with it and kind of reflect on where he made a mistake at and why he wanted to stick around a long time. And he should have walked. He should have walked a long time ago. You can't allow somebody to talk to you like that. Can't allow somebody to put you down. You can't allow somebody to say that you're not communicating when you think you're doing your best. And if you're doing your best and they still giving you the, still give you their butt, it's time for you to leave. It's time for you to move on. And I think he understands that now, but he needs to find love as let it grow and not force it. And it ain't a competition. Just embrace it.
I'm not mad at it. I hear it, But listen, look, I think it was a interesting situation, Jabari. I mean, personally, do you know what? Robert was here at this time as well. I remember myself and Layla, we said that Vernon's got a mouth on her. And the audience slated us at the time of us saying it, right? At the time when we said her mouth is a little bit sharp and she needs to watch how she be talking because she would just be doing a little bit the way she talks. So I wasn't surprised when Jabari came out and said he got a little, shoot towards the end of the situation. But at the same time, I think he also has to be accountable too, right? 2 weeks is 2 weeks on a thing. I get it. He's a deep faller. He's a person that falls in deep. He falls in love, or I should say, maybe not fall in love, but he gets affectionate real quick, and maybe that's what probably happened to him. But I think he just needs to. I wanted him just to look at himself and just say, okay, look, while she's done all that stuff, what role did I play in that situation too, right? Because with everything that you've mentioned, I don't know why the frick you were there. There was no sparks, no energy. There was no intellectual conversation. You were suffering. You couldn't even have a sexual conversation. He said, listen, bro, there was no positives in this space. Old boy was hurt. You know what I mean? And I was like, you were hurt by the idea of the person, not who the person actually is. And that tells me that you weren't actually looking at who you were actually facing. So just wanted him to kind of just slow it down and just look at it from that perspective that whilst we can hold her accountable, which we always will, and continue to be blocked for it, but we also have to be able to be aware that you two also are part of the equation, and it takes two to tango. So shout out to Vern.
Can I also say, I think this is why I said in the recent breakdown, Kojo, is that Vern's healing is performative. To learn from Tabari that in the final conversation, he felt as if she was making it seem as if she was better than him and that he was not good enough. That to me is unnecessary, right? I think there comes a point in everyone's life. It's like when you get to this stage of healing from experiencing horrible relationships, you come to an understanding that while someone is not for you, that does not mean you're better than them. That just means it's not a good fit. So there has to be a way for you to kind of navigate that space without making that person seem as if like they're not good enough. They're just not good enough for you, right? You have to kind of specify it. So that was like a little disheartening to hear, but it kind of proves the point that like I don't think Vern's healing is authentic. I really think it's performative. It's very loud. So I would like to see her work on that. I don't know if she'll be doing any more reality shows, and she definitely is not going to want us to comment on anything else after this. But it was kind of sad to hear that.
Vern said, "Don't matter."
Oh man. It's all mad out here. It's all mad out here. All right, cool. Let's jump into this reunion, innit? Let's jump into this reunion because there was a lot that was going on. A lot of things happened during the course of this show. Of course, we've reviewed part of it because, we saw some clips which were released by shout out to Crystal XO, who did the Lord's work by showing some of these clips earlier than we were allowed to see. So we got to comment on some of this stuff. But let's start with since we're already on Vern, we can really continue in the discourse. But Vern had two people. She had Jabari on the case, and she let it be known the difference between Jabari and Tabari in terms of their communication and, the fact that, Jabari, was calling her and messaging her and letting her know where to come and go and, being there in different places and, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And somebody said, as a joke, but it kind of was kind of true. He said the light went out from her eyes when she found out he was with someone else. Yeah, I'm joking. But you know, I think there was a lot that was going on between the two of them, right? Sorry, the three of them. I want to get you guys' thoughts on the Vern, Tabari, Jabari situation, how you saw it on the reunion. How did you guys actually see it on the reunion? What was your thought process? Fantastic. Thank you, Glenn. Sorry, it's just that, you know, there was a little tiny movement and I just chose you, bro. That was it.
Yeah, I try not to move. You know, Tabari was just a third wheel, man. She really liked Jabari. If Jabari could have leaned on, if he could have pushed back just a little bit or slid back a little bit the traditionalism, she would have been with Jabari the whole time. I think the traditionalism was the thing that got her. She doesn't want to, I can say controlling, not willing to submit. I know people don't like to use that word. That's a bad word, but she wasn't willing to submit to some of the things that he liked. I mean, not saying that he was the best choice, but for that season or that moment where she was at, you know, Tabari was, she really liked Tabari. I mean, he gave her everything that Tabari wasn't going to give her, except for the fact that the freedom or the being able to still be her that she had, right? Being out to 2-3 o'clock in the morning, being out doing her business and all that. He wanted somebody that he could put in a box, and it didn't fit. It just didn't fit. Not that he's a bad guy. She just didn't fit with his values and morals. And that's where she was at. But I think she really did like him. I think that she liked the communication. She liked the fact that she liked the stuff they did. They was able to do off camera, to go around the city, the talking, the communication. She enjoyed the interaction that they had, but it just wasn't meant to be. Just wasn't meant to be.
Thank you, Robert. Sorry, you shifted your seat. Go for it. If you move, you get picked. If you move, you get picked. It's that simple. Keep still.
Oh man. So yeah. I want to know how in depth were the conversations about traditionalism were between Jabari and Vernisha. Like, I want to know, how do they define traditionalism and what that might look like for their relationship? Because throughout the whole season, I was very confused on where Vernisha stood in her stance. You know, she's an entrepreneur. Like, she wears multiple hats. I love that about her. But in the same sense, she was like, she wants to be traditional. And then here you have it, they're not together. So I want to know, like, was it that polarizing, their definitions of traditionalism? Because it seems as though Vernisha is very attracted to Jabari, right? I think he has that confidence and that swag that she's looking for. He has that cadence. He has that, like, if this is the person that I can see myself with. That's great. I love that. But I think there's some disconnect that I'm trying to put my finger on it, but I'm not exactly getting what that disconnect is. And I don't like how I think Vernisha said something. I'm trying to remember what she said, but she kind of alluded to the fact that like not being, kind of similar to what Glenn said, not being able to like submit to a man. And it just, it really contributed to me just feeling more confused about where she stood. And I'm just like, Vernisha, as I don't know, I'm trying to like say this carefully because I don't want to offend her further, but I don't want to seem like I'm getting so much on Vernisha, but I've never seen.
It's okay to be blocked, Araba. It's okay to be blocked. Say what you're gonna say.
I've never seen someone so unsure of who they are, but they're like so loud about like I know who I am. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's so confusing to me. Like, to this day I don't understand where you stand. Jabari. So I hope, as traditional as he claims to be, I hope, Jabari, that all of the bills are in your name in this new relationship, because he was very adamant about, I want my woman to cater to me a certain way. When do you have time to be a woman if you're out in the streets? With that being said, Jabari, please let us know if you're paying all the bills, because one thing I'm not going to sit here and act like is that you're, like, because a lot of men, what they love to do is they love to be a traditionalist, right? But they're not doing their part. And throughout the season, he gave me 50-50 vibes. So that's kind of what bothered me about Jabari, is like, you had a conversation early on with Vernisha about, I don't have the most amazing job, and so we kind of have to meet somewhere in the middle. And so I was a little bit shocked to see how, like, he was protesting this traditionalism on the reunion, because I didn't get that strong traditionalism sense during the show. So I'm really hoping that, like, if you're going to be a traditionalist, that means Vernisha should have the option to not have to work again if you're going to be that traditionalist. You get what I'm saying? Like, if we're going to use that word so boldly, I'm going to need to see it practiced in real life. So I'm going to get on him for that. However, I do not fault him for having those views. Like I said on the previous live with Kojo, I think the important thing to be able to have discourse about these things is you have to allow people to have their opinions, right? You don't have to agree. You don't have to be friends with this person, but Jabari is entitled to wanting a traditionalist life. I didn't like the tone that he conveyed the message in, because it had a misogynistic tone. He said something like, when do you have time to come home and be a woman? Well, regardless of what time women come home, there's still going to be a woman, right? That has nothing to do with my performance as a wife or as a mom. And so I didn't appreciate that. And I can see maybe Vernisha caught that early, and she was like, there might be some controlling aspects to this guy that I can't deal with. And so that was for that. I don't appreciate how she talked to Tabari during the reunion. I really, like, sentiments were expressed earlier. It's okay if you're not a match with someone, but you still can express common decency to a person that you don't like. And I think this goes to kind of like support the thesis that when people are not attracted to someone, it shows. It shows through their body language. It shows how they talk to a person. It shows, like, the way that they move. You're not going to feel respected when someone is not fully attracted to you. And I think that's kind of what we saw during the reunion. And I was a little bit disappointed, because I felt like, well, damn, you don't have to like this guy. You don't have to walk into the sunset with this guy, but to face him, to have a conversation, and to kind of give the situation closure, I thought that was, like, the most decent thing to do. But she didn't, so good luck to all three of them. Tabari was lovely, and I wish Jabari and his new girl success. I still want to know where Vernisha stands, because I'm unsure, but maybe someone can help break it down for me a little bit.
Fair point. I can't even lie to you. Sean, I saw you making a face during Araba's speech, so tell us your thoughts. Oh, yeah, I was paying attention. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I just think that, we saw this happen a little bit on the reunion. Sometimes when us guys, when we're communicating or we're saying things, it can come out harsh. I didn't take it away like he was just saying, oh, you can't be a woman because you work. He was just saying, like, when do we have time? Because if you're out to 2, 3 in the morning, or you're coming home and then you're working late on the laptop or doing whatever your other businesses are till late in the wee hours, how do you get a chance to really do the things and, be attentive to me? So I just felt like that's the point that he was trying to say. But unfortunately, he got pounced on in 50 different ways. And then Tamika, she's got to do the gaslight. She tried to gaslight him, and then she didn't like the response when she told him, no, you'll bend for the right woman. And then he says, no, I won't. I don't think men should bend. Right. So if you're going to accuse him of being misogynistic for that comment, then you got to accuse her of being misandrous for the comments that she's making, because she's just, you know, throwing guns, and then Tanika's over there talking about she's triggered, triggered, and then they start projecting. You know, they're projecting all their trauma, and unfortunately, what I did see a lot from Vern was a lot of projection. You know, she's taking whatever anger, whatever hurt, whatever feelings happened, and she's just projecting out. She did the same thing we heard from Tabari in that last little thing when she was giving him his send-off. She's just hitting him with all these shots that didn't necessarily apply to him. So I just think, like, at the end of the day, I just felt like it was just a lot of smoke. And you know, we all do this. You know, I know ladies are saying, oh, he want to be 50-50, but he want to be traditional. Well, the women do it too. The women definitely do it when y'all say, you know, I want to be modern, you know, but I want to be free to do whatever the heck I want to do. You know, I want to, you know, have one foot over here and then I want to have one foot over there. Everybody does it. People pick and choose. That's just the human mind frame. It's not just men that do that. So my thoughts, I mean, he would need to be more clear. I will say that. I'm not going to say he's perfect. No, he's not perfect. He does need to kind of be more clear, flesh some things out, and say, hey, listen, this is what I mean by this to Vern. Forget about Tamika and Tanika because they got their own set of issues. You know, to Vern or anybody he's going to be in a relationship with, he just needs to be clear about what that is so that we have a mutual understanding of how our relationship works and what are the dynamics that we expect.
Fantastic.
Can I quickly respond to Sean?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
y'all are gonna kill me in the comments. Y'all gonna kill
they're
me.
gonna kill you then.
The men especially. But the reason why I think Jabari needs to be very clear on what traditionalism looks like to him is because there's a difference, right? And this is where I'm bringing in that double standard. There's a stark difference between how women and men portray traditionalism. When men are super traditionalist, it can be dangerous, right? So you have the financial abusers, you have the ones who, because they are the man, everything I say goes. You need to wear this outfit. You can't be hanging out with these types of people. You can't be doing this. And so that's why I personally was a little bit uncomfortable with how strong and out loud he was with the traditionalism, but did not define exactly what that looked like, right? He used his broad general statement of, oh, how can you be a woman to me, or cater to your man if you're out or whatever? It's like, I'm gonna need for you, sir, to outline and bullet what traditionalism looks like, right? Because historically, we know when men talk that traditionalism talk, especially in today's time, and they still expecting you to pay half the bills, it can be very, very dangerous compared to when a woman is just like, you know, oh, I want to stay at home. It's just not the same thing is what I'm trying to say essentially. So I don't know. I feel like I just was very uncomfortable with the tone and the manner in which he tried to to talk about traditionalism.
Yeah, no, I can rock with you on that. And I think that's where they just need to probably have a greater conversation outside of everybody else's eyes and ears so they can really understand, like, oh, this is what I mean, or this is what I mean. And if it comes that it don't match, then we need to move on. Now, my last point is about this whole who's paying what thing. Depending on the life stage that you come together at in a relationship, hey, certain parts of your bills are going to be your bills. If you got a couple of kids that you've had already, you got a couple of businesses that came with some loans, no, you're going to need to work. You know, I'm not paying for that. You know, we're 40 plus. You know, it's different when you meet somebody and you're in your 20s or maybe even early 30s when you're establishing yourself, but you're a little bit further along down the line and you think I'm paying for something that you've done from 10, 15 years ago. No, that's not on me, baby girl. You know, I'm not going to change my values because you come with some extra things, just like I don't expect you to inherit the things that, that are on me. That's for me to take care of. You know, we can have us a good old joint account and then a separate account for our bills, and then you pay the things you've been paying, and then our household expenses, yes, I will run that, I will lead that, I will pay those things that are in our household together. But the stuff you done got, no, you're gonna have to keep your name on them bills. You're gonna have to keep writing them checks from your separate account. So keep your separate account. If you want to call it your oops, your uh-oh, your get out of jail free account, if I act stupid account, call it what you want to call it. You can keep it and keep your name on it and pay your bills by yourself.
Aries, go for it.
Oh God, you got me over here. My head is hurting. Okay. Yes, I agree with a lot of what everybody was saying. I think the bottom line with Jabari, and it really doesn't matter. That's why she did not pick him originally. She liked him as a person and stuff like that. The philosophies were off. He did not make enough money, period. Because that's when they start talking about how much you make and all that. It started getting all testy on the little digital exclusive. So I think she already knew, like, he's not making enough. So I'm gonna have to let you go. And it was that, because she really liked him. So that's why they want to put the two guys together. She's like, well, Tabari got the hustle. He gonna have multiple businesses and stuff going on, but I like Jabari more, bottom line. So I just personally, didn't like the way the hosts were handling him. Regardless of how you feel about his philosophies, it was really scary, like how these women were being on stage. Like, I just couldn't take it. I'm triggered. Everybody has something to say. I'm like, what is going on? Like, y'all are way in this, and I need everybody to go get some help. Tanika, is it Tanika? Is that her name, Tanika? Yeah, they were coming way ridiculous. Like, and I was actually on his side with the whole Ben thing, because I was just like, we do that, Sean. We will say we want one thing and then we want, something else. I want you to be a leader. I want you to be this. Just like, Vern is saying, I want to be out to 2-3 in the morning. It's kind of like, what are we doing for real? But also, I'm a homemaker. It's like how it's not aligning. So it wasn't making no sense. But it's like, no, I don't even want my man to bend that much, to be honest with you. Like, I want someone who, first of all, don't tell me no all the time, but I need you to be able to tell me no. Like, you need to be able to put your foot down at some point in time in life, but don't be bending on everything. Like, have a stance, So I don't know. I just didn't agree with that. And I didn't like how they were doing it with all the guys, but it was just like, he held his own, up there. I feel like it did put some egg on their face when he said he had a woman. I don't think they expected him to say yes. And everybody had egg on their face. Even Tanika, Miss Triggered, was just like, oh, congratulations. Everybody looking lost. Yeah. So y'all over here mad at me, and I got I got a woman. So I feel like that kind of made everybody look stupid. But yeah, it was a lot of contradiction. And I do think that obviously the emotion that came from Vern when she let him go, it was very telling on stage that I'm not attracted to Tabari. She was saying that some of those dudes' breath stink. So the way she was sitting, it looked like his breath stink. That's how it looked to me. Like, you did not want to face that man because you sit there going this far away. I'm like, dang, what is wrong with him? Like, why are you looking at him like that? So that's kind of how she was sitting. I was just like, maybe another reason why she wasn't looking. But yeah, so that was y'all pretty much touched on all the other stuff, but it was just like the host and how they handle him. I really wasn't liking that part. That was bothering me.
Appreciate Aries. Jay.
Yeah, I'm with Sean and Aries on this. It was the host for me. Okay, I couldn't even focus through this whole segment because every 5 seconds, one of them was talking and giving their personal opinions to everything. Poor Jabari, I felt bad because the man misspoke. And I'm not saying that he didn't mean it, but he just misspoke in that moment. And he didn't have time to even clear it up because once he started clearing it up, you got this screaming, I'm triggered. And you got these people over here speaking their piece and everybody's just got something to say. And so my brother did the best he could, would just try to laugh it off as far as clearing it up or whatnot. I feel like all these modern day traditionalist people, they lost in the middle of confusion. I think why she wanted Jabari so much more is because he was more of that ideal space that she probably wants to be in. However, if she wants somebody to take care of her, from what we gathered from today's interview, Jabari would have been the better pick, because Jabari seems more the type of, I'm going to let you rest more in your femininity than Tabari is more like, I'm going to let you rest in your femininity than Jabari is. Jabari is like, you're going to rest here at 10 p.m. with me, and that's it, because I got to get up in the morning. I'm not waiting up for you. I got things to do in the morning. We got to go to bed. That just is never going to work. So I don't understand why she was fighting the fact that this person is not aligned for you, but it was okay when it came to Tabari to be like, we're not meshing. We're not working. So that was kind of odd to me. Another thing that stood out is, if you know you don't like this man, why you still got so much venom for him? Why was Tabari still getting so much venom on the stage and knowing you don't like him? And the only conclusion I can come up with is you're just mad he's still not chasing you. Because that was the only thing that separated these two men in the first place, is Jabari sat on the phone with you because he has all night, because he's at home getting ready for work the next day. He sat on the phone with you all day long, while the entrepreneur, who your lifestyle you understand, can't always do that with you. But you're still mad at this man for not being what you want or chasing you. I didn't understand all that. It's like you still had so much attitude. It was just, you should have been up there like, we just didn't work. He didn't call me enough. That's all. I didn't get enough communication from him and all this stuff like that. No hard feelings. It is what it is. Just like we sitting here saying he shouldn't have been so invested after 2 weeks. Well, why was she just as invested to be having all these hard feelings on the stage? You know, and she keep running around here. All these men want to be up here for a check. Well, why were you keeping half of these men for that check? Let them go. If you say bye to him, he can't get paid. It is what it is. You know, so it was a lot of confusion up there running through each and every one of them. I'm like, all three of y'all really don't know what y'all want. The one who clearly must know what he wants the most is Jabari, because he got somebody. So congratulations to him. And like as Ari said, it was egg on everybody's face. I was kind of thinking that Tanika was kind of going to be like, hey, call me later and stuff like that, because she was the main one who asked, so you got a girl? And he was like, yeah. She was like, oh.
Wait, Jay, when she said, oh, I didn't know traditional women still existed.
Like,
what?
I said, first of all, you looking at a modern day traditionalist right here, because baby, I would go to work all day. Let me spend all of my money on what I want, but you pay all these bills. I got you. I got you. I'll come cook, I'll clean, I'll make tacos. What you want?
Tacos and spaghetti.
Gourmet, baby.
Right.
But yeah, I listen, I'm with you too on this point, Aries. If I don't want you, you can be a great person, you could be a great man, you could be a great woman. If I just don't feel like we align, it's no reason to force it. And I agree that everybody should stop jumping down her neck, saying that either of these brothers was a good man. They're a good man for you, sis. Go have them. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's still in the world free for you to have. Leave her alone on it. She don't want it. That's not what she wants. She'll figure it out one day and it'll hit her and she'll find who she wants. Hopefully he'll be a good man to her, and that's where we just got to leave it.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else want to add any more before we move it on from Jabari, Vern, and thingy? Yes, Sean, go for it.
Yeah, no, I would say that, to try to add some balance in there, with Vern. I think the thing that sometimes people do, right, and I think especially with her being on a previous season of Ready to Love, and then seeing all the feedback, and then also, having what happened between her and Joel, I think she is super conscious of that. So I think, unfortunately, although she may be technically over the situation, when you're back in the same environment, you are hyper aware and super conscious of not doing those same things again. So I think Vern probably overcorrected because she was so concerned about not doing the same things that she did with Joel, not, you know, just making one guy in the process her sole focus, and, you know, not weighing her options and missing out on seeing other people and then getting played, that she just went way overboard in her vetting process. And again, I don't think that she necessarily should have been with Jabari or Tabari, because if they don't align and they don't work out, then you shouldn't be together. But you also don't have to treat people negatively or meanly in the process because you see something in them that maybe hurt you from the past. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. That's just how, again, we talked about feelings, and I had that heated debate about feelings. Yeah, maybe she felt that way, you know, when she saw something when she interacted with Jabari that reminded her of previous things. So that elicited a response. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you know, in this short period of time, just get to, you know, treat him that way, because wasn't necessarily the case. And it could just be, hey, we don't work out. So I think sometimes we do that in our own relationships outside of the public view, is we think we're doing the work, but we're not doing the right work. Because there's also the point of, okay, what did I see in this person that I made a mistake in? But what about me? What about me needs to change? What are the things that I would do differently? And they even asked her at a point on the stage, like, is there anything you would do differently or anything? She said, I don't have any regrets. I don't regret anything. Well, Vern, we love you. We understand. We're not making you a villain, a mean person, you know, but we all should walk out of every single scenario with something that we could say, hey, just like we're trying to pin down Tabari to say, what did you learn? It's the same for her. It should be something that she walks away to say, hey, I could have done this differently, or I learned this, or maybe I wouldn't do this the next time around.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on Jay a little bit. You know, if she didn't really like Tabari like that, she could have moved on, right? And if we really look at it, she did try to move on, but Mizell just messed the plan up. She tried to move on. If Mizell would have been honest, it would like, hey, you know what? I want to be with Shareese. We might have seen Vern with Mizell, but Mizell was playing too many games, and he got caught up in the game. So she was telling Tabari, I'm gonna keep my option open. Just that he just didn't see it. And so I was curious if Mizell had played that right, what would Vern and Mizell would have been like if Mizell would have been honest. So you know what, Shareese? I think I found somebody else different at this party. I want to talk to Vernisha. And because Mizell would seem like more of her type than Tabari and Jabari, that he could have let her do what she wanted to do. But there's just a little twist to it because, again, she wasn't feeling Tabari or Jabari. She really was feeling Mizell, but Mizell just messed the plan up trying to be a player. He missed out his own opportunities.
Funny enough, they would have worked for that moment, and then we'd have been at this reunion talking about how they not together now and stuff. It wouldn't have been no Sharice and Maurice situation for sure. She'd have been over here blessing this man out. Like, you know, he didn't call and they said no, and I found out he was with some other women. Well, sis.
One last thing to add. Also, like Sean, to add a little bit more balance and to show that, you know, we're not completely on Vern's bad side. But I think what we're seeing, especially from Ashley and Vern, is essentially a trauma response, right? Because I think, so both ladies have had very public relationships that have not ended well. And both ladies have expressed feeling betrayed when they have authentically shown up and have been genuine in their relationships, but have felt as if they were taken advantage of, as they have felt as if they were played. And that hurts, right? I think when you give your all in a relationship, when you give your all to someone and you genuinely are seeking love with someone and they play you, it sucks. It sucks. And similar to how a wound heals, scar tissue, right? It's like it's overproduction of, you know, I'm not in the medical field, but from what I remember, right, it's kind of like your cells are like over healing. And I think we're kind of seeing that in real time, where because of the hurt that they've experienced, because of the damage that they have endured, they are like trying to overcompensate, trying to overheal themselves. And unfortunately, trauma responses are not pretty. They're ugly. They highlight insecurities, they highlight pain. And so I really do hope these women are able to get help, to get therapy, to one day find genuine love, of course, after doing the work. But I do have empathy for them. I do feel for them.
I feel like that's why you keep hearing them talk about what they used to do and used to accept. You hear Ashley always like, I always go for the guy that's like this. And then Vern will talk about, I don't want to do what I did last time. Like they keep bringing that into it, which is a great example of what you're saying. Is like, you just, now you like, once you get your heart broken, all right, now I'm out here, I'm about to be a savage. I'm out here I'm about to tear the streets up now. You know, ain't nobody gonna ever do me like that again, you know? And so I definitely could see that energy, because I don't feel like it's, you know, like you said, Kojo, it was in like a little seed of that was in there, you know, but we didn't see it as prominent as we're seeing on this show. We're seeing a lot more the kind of the venom of it coming out. And I think that when she was dating Jabari on the show, the main conflict was like, oh, I don't want to pick the first guy like I did last time. It's like, but what if the first guy, you know, what if it was the right guy? Would you just not pick him because you didn't want to pick him, you know, from the last, you know, the same pattern or whatever you want to call it? But instead of just using the discernment that you need and using that as the reason to not pick him, not just because I don't want to pick the first person that I like, you know, or whatever. So yeah, I could see that as well. So I don't know. I want them all to just like, they need another show where they have like a Iyanla Fix My Life type of thing. Like where everybody can kind of really walk through it. When you look back at this show, I'm hoping that they see, you know, themselves and actually say, dang, I did kind of show up like that. And sometimes it takes you to see yourself for it to hit you a little bit and, you know, for you to kind of correct that. Because I've definitely had to take accountability when I look back at like, or listen to myself on a recording or saw myself on a video of how I was talking to somebody or whatever. I'll be like, ooh, I don't like it. I didn't like that. Let me fix this. You know, and if you don't have that awakening moment for yourself, you're not going to fix it no matter what nobody else says. Like you have to see it and be like, I didn't like the way I showed up. Like I would have liked to show myself a lot better here. So let me work on the things, you know, that I need. So.
Yeah, but neither one of them feel like the person they will sit down and do self-reflection, right? It doesn't seem like their self-reflection is something when you can't take criticism and feedback, you can't take self-correction from yourself. And I think that's one of the biggest things when you can look in the mirror and say, you know what, today I don't do right. Today I'm not right. Today I'm not feeling this way, right? Today I know I messed up. And we haven't seen accountability from neither one of them, right? We haven't seen accountability from Vern, haven't seen accountability from Alexis. I mean, for that was just never seen the accountability whatsoever. So you got to be able to have the accountability to say, you know what, I messed up. I talked to this dude foolish. This is not what I want. This is what I want. And know what you want and stand on it. And you know what? And realize I messed up some relationships myself. As you said, Aries, you said it. If it's the first guy, guess what? If he's treating you right and everything's on the list is right, it might be the first one. But I think they're at the point in their life, you know what? Why do I keep messing up? Why do I keep selecting the wrong guy? Why did the wrong guy keep selecting me? And you got to feel like, okay, why do you keep selecting the wrong guy? And why is the wrong guys keep coming to you? What kind of energy are you bringing that these guys feel like it's okay for them to come to you?
Well, that's why the cycle continues, Glenn, because they're not taking that accountability, that moment to step back and reflect to see what I'm doing wrong. Why am I attracting these people? So may it continue. Godspeed. I just said that because, you know, she got on her live and told us that we cannot tell her nothing. That's all. The only reason I'm telling her. So Godspeed. We can't tell her nothing. We need to mind our damn business. And Ashley done told us that she ain't changing. So there's that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to, try to wrap her in a love blanket. Sometimes, you gotta give a message with a little bit of honey, Just like when I feed my little dog, and I'm not calling her a dog, but I got to wrap the pill in some peanut butter. So she takes it. So, I think we do love and support you. We want the best for you, but we just seen some behaviors that we think could be better. Now, you could take our advice with a grain of salt, or you could hear for what, we really are trying to see. But, I think because when you hear Vern's lives and her responses, she talks about her confidence and the things that she does, but that's just unfortunately not who we got a chance to see. And we've gotten a chance to see you a couple of times now in 2 different shows, 2 different types of shows. This one was more hyper focused on her. And we really got to see some of the behaviors. And I think some of the things I think it's worth listening to. Just taking some stock, and to maybe what's 1 or 2 of the things. We say this often. My pastor taught me this phrase. It's common: chew the meat, spit out the bones, right? There has to be a little bit of something in what everybody is saying, especially over here. We're not a channel that just starts attacking and going after people for no reason. So, if you get around to watching this, Vern, there's no hate. We don't hate you. We don't wish bad for you. We just want to see you be better. We want to see better outcomes for you, sis.
Seaway, welcome to the conversation. We're talking. Hi, good seeing you again, babe. We're talking obviously about Vern, Tabari, and Jabari. We missed a really good part of the conversation, but I'd love to hear your perspective on the triangle, I guess, that was happening on Reunion. Vern, Jabari, and Tabari, which is just really interesting that Tabari and Jabari have the same kind of names. This is crazy. It must be fate. Seaway. The good Lord was like, you're going to learn to listen twice, okay? But Seaway, what's your thoughts around those 3 and the situation that played up on the Reunion?
Well, I heard Glenn, right? Glenn, I like Glenn's take about how Vern probably would have been with Mizell if it all would have worked out. I didn't even think about that, but I did want to say I was listening on my phone on my way home from my basketball game. So I was like, that actually is like true. I think that kind of messed up the whole situation. Yeah, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I feel like you guys have all said so many like amazing things when I was listening. And I think the interview gave a lot of context that you did today, Kojo, just about the whole situation. It kind of solidifies my whole point that I just don't think that Vern ever really liked him like that. I don't think she liked him. And I think because, and I said this when we just had our one-on-one earlier, I think a couple days ago, that because she never really liked him too much, too tough, and when he turned around and didn't wow her, I think she just became frustrated with him and the process. I don't think he or her are bad. I just feel like together, it just didn't work at all. And I think sometimes, and I said this before, as a woman, when a man is like on your nerves because he's either like not what you want or not doing what you want or just not your vibe, we can get a little mean sometimes. That includes me. I've done that before. It's like when I don't really see it for you, it's like you get kind of like a little attitude because I was waiting to hear what he actually did to kind of deserve that kind of disdain that she seemed to have for him. And I never really heard that. But I did really appreciate your interview because I think we learned a lot about Tabari, more than what we could get from the Reunion. And I also think, and I think you called it out perfectly. I feel like I was typing to your brain and you said it, but I also feel like he also didn't really see it for Vern like that. But because he wanted to win, which he did admit, he was kind of skating along, doing half effort and half steps. And so they both were just kind of handling it in different ways. But I both think that at some point they knew they were just like, like this is not working. He knew that she wasn't really feeling him and she wasn't feeling, and he wasn't feeling her energy towards him. You know what I mean? So I think it just is what it is. And I do think, like y'all said multiple times, Vern just has to figure out what she wants. And I think once she kind of figure out what she wants and who she wants, she won't even spend time with like a Tabari if that's not really her style. And I'm not here to be, just because I like Tabari's energy, from what I could see for the most part, he got some other, I saw little red flags, a couple of them. I saw a couple of them, but not too many. But just because I kind of like his light, his light, you know, kind of free flowing energy, maybe that doesn't work for her, right? So I can't tell her as one woman what another woman should want. I just feel like if you don't want him, and if that's not really your style, then you should probably just try to cut it off early and vice versa, so you don't hurt anybody's feelings. Because it just seems like feelings got hurt in a 2-week span for no reason. There was a lot of feelings for 2 weeks. A lot of anger and sadness for 2 weeks. I don't know how we got either of those emotions in 2 weeks. I don't know why she's so mad and why he's so sad. Either way, it's a lot in 2 weeks. So, that's it.
Thank you very much, Siwe. And listen, look, you know, I think, you know, I think both Vern and Tabari didn't necessarily like each other that much. And I think neither of them really put in the effort that really needed to happen. I think both of them were trying to win. Like Vern's thing is about wanting people to want her, and Tabari wanted to win because he wanted to not be rejected and he wanted to have the opportunity to win her over at least. And I think they both got caught up in the game. You know, unfortunately, it's almost like playing the game of. It's almost like playing a game of, how do I say this? When when like you're in a situation with somebody and like who's willing to go the lowest. It just seemed like Vern was willing to go the lowest in that situation, right? So she was willing to go all the way to let him know, like, I'm gonna win this game, and at the end I'm gonna let you know that I never wanted you, kind of thing, you know. Again, to prop up herself. So it just, unfortunately, the game played in a particular way where it ended, unfortunately, in a really bad way. And unfortunately, Tabari was in that. But like I said, he has to learn that lesson as to why he was there for so long. Because honestly, none of it was making sense. Like when you're telling me all the things that are happening, the only thing that's keeping you there is not just the winning. And maybe, and I didn't say it on a live, I probably should have. But nigga, you wanted some sex. Okay? That's what you wanted. You wanted some sex. Because you mentioned a couple of times the conversation to go to sex. And I was like, Tabari, but I'm going to let you leave. But it sounded like you wanted a little la. You know what I mean? And you didn't get a la. So maybe that's why you were staying there, because the body was doing la. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's why you were hanging in there a little bit longer. Maybe the opportunity of the little la would have come up and you would have at least won a little something, a little prize at the end of it. So even if you don't get together, you got a little prize. Yes, Araba.
Like this man said, what are we going to talk about at 11 p.m. other than sex? I don't know, like sports, maybe? Like 11 p.m.? Dreams, goals, aspirations.
Robert, my man said you better watch ESPN if you want some sports.
Go to your vision board with that.
I was like, come on. Ain't no way you can't think past that horizon. But that's just me.
You must be used to missing.
What's that song? He was feeling on your booty.
Dining and dining, but I'm loving you tonight.
Y'all are the worst.
He was feeling that booty, boy. He said
that was the red flag that flew up for me at that. I'm like, what? Somebody was like, what's he trying to do? What you call? He wants to be texting. If he's like, what are we texting about? What could we possibly be talking about? I'm like,
look,
P.O. done told y'all.
He's doing long drives. Texting and driving is very dangerous. So
P.O. done told y'all. Sean, P.O. done told y'all. After 9 p.m. it's thugged out time. This is 11. We've 2 hours past. Okay, baby, what are we trying to do?
It's true.
And forgive me for the Robert quote song. I'm sorry.
Well, I was over here singing him and Puffy. I mean, him
exactly,
and Diddy.
right?
Biggie.
Listen, guys,
they're gonna come for you next.
It's embedded in the culture. I'm sorry. Forgive us. We still sing Michael Jackson too. So
listen, I canceled the man, not the songs. He didn't.
Exactly. Right. I'm not streaming it. Don't worry.
You're terrible. See what you wanted to say something. Go for it.
I just don't know about this conversation. So what did I miss? He didn't want to talk to her late on the phone?
No. I mean, no. Yeah.
He said that he didn't talk on the phone a lot. He said they didn't have a lot to talk about because they would be at date sitting for 2 hours. So like, what I'm gonna do, call you on the phone after we've been sitting for 2 hours. And he was like, sometimes it'd be late at night. And like, we hadn't gotten to the point where we're talking about sex or anything yet. So like, that wasn't a conversation. And then like, that came out of nowhere. Like, what? So he was just like referencing that a couple of times as if like they hadn't gotten to intimacy, you know, talking about things like that. So like, what would we be talking about at 11 o'clock? And I'm like, why does the time even matter? Like, you're trying to get to know somebody, learn something.
Come on, Aries, cut it out.
I
mean, there's no way you're gonna have a 11 o'clock conversation and it don't get a little spicy.
Why does I don't get the time and why that has anything to do with anything.
There's something about that.
Because you get the bedroom, you know, when you get sleepy, the voice gets a little raspier, you know, you get a little relaxed, you know, and the conversation goes there. You're telling me you've never had a flirty conversation late at night, Aries?
I'm not saying that I've never done that. I'm saying, first of all, you don't have no chemistry with this person. He even said they weren't having those talks. So, but the fact that was is that the only thing y'all can talk about? You don't even know the girl. You're someone, I don't even know what you bring to the table. Exactly. Find out. Get to know her. Ask more questions. You act like there's nothing else to learn from her. It has only been 2 weeks. So there's plenty of things you can talk about if that's the time that you two are available to have a conversation. So like, I just didn't connect the dots on that.
In devil's advocate, she has to be giving him something to talk about or continue the conversation too. Because if I ask you a question and you give me dry-ended answers, we're not having a conversation. So it's a two-way street. I think they both just have a communication problem. So
I'm crying. Baby, we're not talking about the state of the world at 11 o'clock.
No, these comments make me feel like maybe something's wrong with me because I don't know. I feel like I've had plenty of conversations that time without it getting spicy. But then again,
me too. But I think the problem is that
if y'all want to get spicy with, then we can get spicy. It would get spicy at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It don't have to be a
that's why I'm about to say, Aries, shoot, that'll be spicy in the middle of the day, and at night it'll be like
it's 9 o'clock in the morning. We can have spicy conversations.
I think the problem is they just didn't have nothing to talk about. It didn't matter if it was 2 o'clock. It could have been 4 o'clock. I mean, it's just like he really should have said, "I'm not staying up that late to talk to hear you breathe on this phone." That's really what he should have said. And that I understand.
Breathe in a particular way. That's what I'm talking about. That's what he's saying. Breathe in a particular way. Because
it's not some boys to men. Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like, you wasted my time. That's what he basically was saying. Let me get a little something.
Well, listen, he said it. It's a guy talking, and guys, we get that. So I totally understood exactly what he meant. He wasn't saying like, "Oh, if we're not going there, you know, then I don't want to waste my time." But he was like, you know, I have to give so much in the conversation, and then, you know, we're gonna be talking late at night to say what? I'm driving home to see my, you know, to get home to get to my daughter. You can't even give me a good, you know, flirtatious back and forth vibe.
Give me a little flirt.
Give me a little something, you know.
God damn.
You said keep you awake, Sean.
Work with me. Yeah, no.
But
the blood pressure up a little bit.
Devil's advocate, you don't think that's a lack of self-discipline, just a little bit?
What, talking on the phone, Robert?
No. Hear me out. I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Past 11 p.m. if it has to get spicy, you can't talk about anything else but spiciness. You don't think that's a little bit of a lack of discipline?
Don't go to the extreme. He's not just saying that's all we can talk about, but he's just saying like, I want to see. Basically, it's like we don't have any chemistry. There's nothing going on, and you keep telling me to call you, right? And then when I call you, what we talking about? It's nothing. It's like having a BFF. Ain't nobody doing all of that. It's like, why am I doing all of that if every time we talk, you kind of dry, and then even if I flirt with you a little bit, Vern gave her his cheek every time he leaned in for a kiss. I told y'all, I talked about she was giving him smiles with no teeth. That kind of energy, yeah, miss me with that. I'm not gonna call you either. I'm not. Run me my check. Yes, I want my check. because I'm driving from Mississippi to Louisiana. Run me my money. That's my 2024 anthem. I want my check, so I'm going to stay in the process. But I ain't calling you after 11 if we ain't talking about nothing. Sorry.
Well, that I think is where we can all agree. We ain't talking about nothing while we on the phone at 11 o'clock.
To my politics.
I get it.
State of affairs. All right. Glenn, did you want to add anything?
Nah, man.
Idea from the rest of us.
No, I'm just laughing, man. I've been out of the 11 o'clock conversation for a long time, just talking to random people. So I'm just
Glenn rolling over. Glenn rolling over. You still up?
Okay. We be on here after dark going spicy in this group.
I was actually about to say that. I was actually about to say that. That's your
stop it. I just want you to stop.
Yeah, I was actually about to say that. But that's your problem.
But I will say this though, it wasn't like
we have spicy conversations behind the scenes and in front of the scenes.
Define spicy, because
Oh, Robert, you missed
everything. You want a definition? Okay, I got you.
Don't give it to her.
Yeah, it wasn't like
I'm gonna DM her the definition of what spicy is.
Not me.
Please don't ask her for a definition, because he's gonna bust out the whole Webster dictionary.
He's gonna go to the dictionary and go to Merriam-Webster. Spicy.
What that do?
What that?
That's what he wasn't talking about. What that?
Nah, playing. Listen,
said, he said that the butt is gonna fall off.
Wait, Aries, what he say? Your mouth ain't talking much, so what else it do? Talk to me. Let me see.
Woo, Lord Jesus.
Let's move it on. It's 11 o'clock. Let's move it on. Cool. So obviously, we were speaking about Vernon, Tabari, and Jabari. You see how easy it happens? This is what he was asking for. But no, let's talk obviously then about Sharice, Maurice. Do you guys believe the connection to be true? We can see that, that they've chosen each other now, and, she might not even go back to Miami. He's coming to Miami to see her and everything like that. It seems like it could be going somewhere. This could actually be a really good relationship. Or do you see it differently, maybe? Maybe you see something different. I don't know. Let me get your thoughts on Sharice and Maurice. Thank you, Aries, for scratching your head. That means you can go first. Thank you.
Well, it seems like they're still dating, I think, based on a couple of interviews and stuff, or they're at least still in communication and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that they're still traveling and hanging out. I think time will tell if they put stuff out there to let us know, but I like them. I think it was very dry in the beginning. We all could agree on that, but I also think that he has a calm demeanor, which I think is good for Sharice as a person. That it seems that she's trying to work on being better, but you can still get triggered while you're on that journey of trying to calm it down. Like she got triggered on stage. I would have totally got triggered on stage too if I was still in that walk of trying to get there. And maybe she's not all the way there yet, but I do think out of all the women, she showed herself to be more in control than the others. But I like them. I mean, I don't see them as the best chemistry ever, but I think out of everyone, it makes sense. He seems like he would be interested. I don't know how, long distance is hard, so they would really have to be into each other for it to work. So I hope that I hope it lasts a little while. I liked his empathy toward her. He gave her the knee pat like I did Chris when she got sad about her missing her family. So it seemed like he was empathetic and hey, it's okay. You ain't gotta be sad about missing your mom and your dog and all that stuff. He seemed like he would be the type that would hey, let's go hang out and go do something fun. So I think he will be a good balance for her as she's working on herself. And from what I've seen just outside of the filming of her, on her lives and on different interviews, she seemed like she's, come around a little bit better this time around. I feel like she showed up better than she did in some of the others, on the other season or whatever. So I'm hopeful for her. I hope it goes well, and you know, they can make that long distance work. It's kind of hard, but I hope they can.
Thank you very much, Aries. Araba, thank you. Go for it.
I knew it.
Because you smiled.
That's why I was like, yeah, let me just shift in my seat, prepare. So just to repeat some of the sentiments that my lovely friend Aries just went over. Let me start with the good first. I am happy for the lovely couple. Watching some recent interviews, it seems like they do, like Sharice has been visiting New Orleans, and it seems as though this might be legit. I am all for Black women finding love, and I wish them nothing but the best. I think it started out a little bit frustrating, but you know, I think in the end, where you end up matters most, right? And so I just want to say congratulations to them. Good luck. I do have a few questions. And I really hope no one receives this as me like hating on them or trying to poke holes in their relationships. But I think there's a few things that we kind of like breezed over. And I don't know if anyone has addressed them, but Shareese going into this process, especially from her season on Ready to Love, had very clear standards for herself. You know, she was very adamant about not being with someone who had children, someone who was previously divorced. There's just a few things that it looks like she has settled for. I'm using that word loosely, right? Because I think at the end of the day, it does look like Sharice is happy with her decision, but ultimately it does look like she settled on some of these standards. And in the beginning of the season, Maurice was not saying anything, and Sharice made it clear that she wanted someone who would be able to be vulnerable, who would be able to have conversation with her. So did everything just get resolved? Like I think we kind of all stopped talking about it, and so I was very confused as to like, is Sharice okay with this dynamic now? Or I was kind of wondering if it was a case of I'm choosing this person because I actually like them, or I'm choosing them because they're just the best option here. So that kind of like was a question that raised for me during the process of this whole thing. I could be proven wrong, right? She may have realized halfway through the process that I don't care if he has older children. I don't care if he was previously married. This is someone who works for me. But I think it might be a little bit of a red flag if we're just going to completely ignore those what seem to be set standards for her in the beginning. I do not too much care for Sharice's attitude at times, but I think this relationship might be helpful for her. And I know you disagree with this, Kojo. But I think in reality, what I've seen is women who can be very out there and quote unquote aggressive are often paired with men who are very calm and reserved. I'm not saying that I agree with those relationship dynamics, because I think it can be in certain ways abusive and harmful for that party. But I do think Sharice might benefit from being with someone who can emotionally regulate, right? And who can emote in a way that is not as out there. So I'm interested to see how this relationship unfolds. But I don't know why we kind of stopped talking about the standards that Sharice had in the beginning and where those standards kind of went.
I know that when she let him go, she said that he started texting her and calling her a lot more, and they were talking more. So I think that kind of enticed her to, you know, when it was time to potentially bring him back, that might have been one of the things. You know, he opened up more and started talking. So maybe that was why that wasn't as big of a issue anymore. You know, they started communicating a lot more. So, you know, and hell, you start realizing that some standards you have are not really you just, you know, like you might say, I want my man to be 6'5". He gotta be 6'5". Well, he might be 6'1", you know, or a strong 5'11", and he got everything else that you want. So you'll be like, I'm cool with that. Did I settle? Potentially, but did I not? You know, was it that big of a deal for me? I don't know. I mean, I think maybe when she met his daughter and saw that the kids were like actually good, you know, the daughter was a good human being, that might have opened her eyes more too. So there's not really, we didn't get to see every single piece of that, you know, but I do know his kids are grown, so that's helpful. If you want someone who, you 43, you about to meet a man that got some kids, so you're gonna have to. That can't be like that. You can't be that much of a stickler on somebody not having kids if you want a good person. They got everything else you want, but they got grown kids. Come on, like it's not gonna affect your life as much as it would if they were like babies, you know. So
yeah, absolutely. And I just want to further clarify. So I personally don't see anything wrong with compromising on certain things. Like fun fact, I told myself I would never date a Nigerian man, right? We all know the stigma that comes with Nigerian men. And here I am today with a Nigerian man, right? So I think you kind of give and take a little bit. Where I was concerned was like, she seemed very adamant about certain things, and halfway through the process, it seemed like we didn't hear about that anymore. So I wasn't sure where she stood on those standards. And it kind of makes me question: are you genuinely interested in Maurice, or was he just like the better pick of the bunch?
I think he was a better pick of the bunch. That's why she went back to him. It's like what Ari says too. He started doing things differently, right? Her biggest thing with Maurice was that he wasn't a communicator. Well, he started communicating. And she said, well, he started texting me, he started calling me, he started doing all these other things. And then the other guys that she started going out with couldn't live up to Maurice. They didn't have a passport. Went to Texas. I mean, that's the biggest place he's traveled. I mean, these were non-negotiables for her, right? The kid thing was grown. She didn't want young kids because I guess the first dude had like 3 kids or 4 kids that were real young, right? So she didn't mind you having grown kids because that doesn't take anything away from her. Doesn't take anything. They're not there every day. She doesn't have to be mommy to anybody, right? All she has to do is still be wife. They may come for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all that other stuff. She doesn't have to be stepmom. She can still be Shareese, right? Because those kids are grown. They don't need a mother. They're adults themselves. So her standards, I don't think she lowered her standards. She knew what she wanted, and it was Maurice. And the other guys didn't live up to her standards that she had. And so Maurice lived up to what she needed. She wanted somebody to kind of not necessarily give her a soft life, but kind of give her a soft life that can move when she moves, and he can move when she moves, right? If he wants to travel to Miami, he can go to Miami. Because remember what she said? She's like, you know, you can move to Miami and open up a practice there. You know, you're a lawyer. I mean, it's not that easy, but again, she wants somebody to flow the way that she wants them to flow, and it does seem like they're doing well. I think they can make it. He does balance her a little bit, but like I said, at the same time, you can't balance somebody so much that you lose who you are. Lose who you are. It doesn't seem like he's going to lose who he is, but he's going to kind of balance her and make sure. Shareese, we only see Shareese get out the gate with other women. Don't see Shareese get out the gate with guys. Shareese goes off on other women, not guys. So I don't see her going off on Maurice unless he does something, you know, maybe cheat or something like that nature. I think she's going to be soft with him because he's soft-spoken to her, and he's going to treat her the way that she needs to be treated. So the more he's soft with her and meet her needs, the more the walls that she has built up are going to be coming down because she can start trusting him more.
I think Sharice did what we're asking Vern to do. She took a hard look at what she really wants. She thought about it, and she decided to go with Maurice. He did make a lot of changes as far as her big non-negotiables, like his lack of communication. And I think that she decided that, you know, this is a person whose personality balances me. He makes me feel safe. He's able to financially keep up with my lifestyle. And I think she decided that that is what at this stage in her life is most important. And I think that's what we've been asking Vern to do. We were like, Vern needs to focus on what she actually really wants out of life, or she's not going to figure out who she wants, right? The only thing that I think I just now thought about with what Araba says is, I don't know, because they didn't talk about it after the fact, if she still wants to be a mother. Because I think what she was starting to bump in against, that the people who have her financial kind of package that she wants also are older, more established with grown kids. So I do wonder, now that I'm thinking about it, is Maurice the type of man who has literally a grown daughter, like an overgrown daughter? I think she's like 26 or something. If he wants to start over and have babies, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm curious about that. But outside of that, I don't really feel like she gave up too many big non-negotiables. I think she just made concessions. And if I was a betting woman, I think Maurice be saying that she wants Sharice be saying she wants kids. But I think if she can live like a kept auntie lifestyle, I think she would be cool with that, personally. So that's the only thing that I wonder about. But I think her and Maurice are a good fit. He balances her and he makes her feel safe. And I feel like you get the better Sharice when she's around him, and that's a good sign. So I really honestly wish them the best, and hope he pushes her to be a better person and vice versa. So
Go for it, Sean.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, I got the S on my chest today. So that's for my baby girl. I'm rooting for you. So, but all jokes aside, no, I really like them. And, I've been singing their praises this whole way long. And I just don't like that this settling word gets a bad connotation, because I don't think she settled in the negative sense, but in the technical sense of what settling means. Yeah, that means you make, you got an issue, you got a problem, you got to look in, and look for a way to resolve that problem. And that's how you settle. Right. So if she settled, I don't know. But I don't think she settled in the sense where she's not going to be happy or she's not getting the things that she wants. Because in a relationship, we all are going to settle. Because I'm sorry, and I just didn't like the connotation that some people after the lives and even at the reunion, Vernisha didn't settle. What does that mean? It just sounds so negative. Do you literally think that you're perfect and anybody that gets you is just going to be like everything 100% of you they're going to be thrilled with? No, they're going to be some things that you come with that they're going to have to say, in the grand scheme of things, I like Sean. Those 2 or 3 or 4 things that he does get under my skin, but the other 50 things outweigh those things. So I think we have to kind of look at people in their totality instead of just getting caught up on certain things. And again, certain things. Now, should you have boundaries and should you have standards? 100%. But you need to be clear about what those things are. A boundary and a standard can't be that I want somebody to look a particular way. That's superficial. You know what I mean? It should be something of substance. You can want what you want, and that's okay to want that, but don't get that caught up with, oh, that's my standard and I'm not settling. No, because that's you're hanging your hat on something that is very superficial and not guaranteed to even come to you. And then we don't want to be on the receiving end. So, I do like them as a couple. I wish them well. I don't think just because I like them and they got together that means that they're going to run off into the sunset and be married next year. No, I don't think that's what that means. It does take a lot of work, especially when you started on a reality show in the public eye. I think they're going to have to do a lot of work to really see if they do work out, if they do complement one another. Is there true chemistry? Because they're both people that are very guarded. Some of those walls kind of came creeping down a little bit, but they are guarded people. So they're going to have to trust each other enough to let down their guards and really truly see if this can work out. I'm rooting for them. I want them to do well. But that's what I feel about that. I don't think they're perfect for each other, but I think, can they work and can they complement each other? 100%.
Go for it, Jay.
Kojo, you look like you up to something before Jay start. It's distracting me. Like Jay finna come in peace, and you finna come with some nonsense. Go ahead.
I'm totally for peace. He can be on his BS for me. He can use my Leo energy. But I'm with you, Sean. I feel like Maurice, if we're gonna go on an 80-20 scale, Maurice is a hard 70 for Shareese. You know what I'm saying? He's coming with pretty much the whole package. There's a few hit and miss. My biggest concerns, and they probably have talked about this since they have been communicating in the background and off camera a lot, is Maurice has done a lot of things that Shareese hasn't. He's been married. He has children. Those sometimes are a big deal for somebody. Does he want to be married again would be one of my questions, if she wants to be married. What possibilities, if she does want kids, would he be open for adopting or whatever? She is in a high risk zone now. We know over 35, all women become high risk pregnancies. So do she even want kids? Do she want to adopt? What kind of options do she want to take on that part? Those would be my biggest concerns. But they too seem to be having good communication, good dialogue. He understands a lot about Shareese. That's what I did notice about this reunion, that he does know about a lot of her traumas, that she didn't shy away from those. I like the comfort that he brings her to open up and vice versa, because he wasn't as open. He was a little bit reserved, and he kind of told us that he was going to be reserved because he didn't know who she was like that. So they have both compromised where you'd like to see in a relationship for each other. Does she have things to work on? We all do. You know what I'm saying? Her attitude towards women is something to work on, but I get her. I'll just say this to her, I pray that she does find her a nice core group. As a person that did struggle with having female friends or women friends growing up, and I was more around the boys more than anything. It's great to have women in your corner. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have strong women in your corner. So I pray that she does find that core group for herself at some point, to help her level herself out, because we can't put all that pressure on Maurice. Does he keep her calm? Is he her Betty Ross, and so to speak? Yes, that's a good thing. She needs that. That's just the start, but the rest of the work has to be on her. So she has to figure out how she keeps herself calm in a lot of situations. And I think his presence help her with that. So I do pray them the best. I hope they're still going strong, because of course this reunion was filmed way back in August. We're now in a whole nother year. So hopefully they're still going strong right now. And if not, they at least have a good friendship. They can, be cordial with each other. So we'll see. Y'all keep an eye on her page. If y'all not blocked from her too, I don't think she blocking anybody, but keep an eye on her page and see if she start posting them or whatnot.
I mean, listen, hey, I'm not gonna have no carnage. Listen, hey, I hope they do well. I hope they go far. And I think Shareese has done. I do feel like Shareese has maybe taken on a bit more of the advice to try and change her outcomes, and so that I have to always commend her for as well. I just think that, when we, and Jay, you took my point, which is, I just don't like this positive aspect of he keeps her calm. I just think that's just a recipe for disaster. I've said it before. I think it's a recipe for disaster. You can't keep anyone calm long enough. Eventually their energy will come and reach the top of the surface. So what we're really saying is we're hoping that his calmness will outlast her anger, and whether his calmness will eventually, cause her anger to eventually subside. So if she's doing the work, fantastic. If she's not, then this will blow up again. It doesn't matter how calm he is, because everyone's got their limit. You know what I mean? But I have to commend Shareese, because I feel like she changed the way she operated a little bit, made him chase as well a little bit as well. And Maurice clearly liked that. Maurice clearly liked the fact that she put him in his place and let him know that, if you want it, you're gonna have to earn it. And he decided he wanted to go after it. So I'm not gonna be mad at that. And I actually do wish them well. You know what I mean? I wish them well. They just don't have that natural. For me, that natural, when you see two couples, natural, I don't see it like that. Do you know what I mean? But that just could be them and their way of doing things. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna put it on them that they should have that naturally. Some people just don't have that natural kind of energy, that sometimes you see from some couples. So that's what I would say.
Can I say this real quick, Sean, before you go? I think one thing was very telling was Tamika's final comments for each of the ladies. And with her final comment, I think Shareese is the one who has the most growth out of it, because she started off like, I'm glad you got rid of your list. So that's to your point, Araba, that she had to throw out the list to be open enough to even find this relationship to be a starting relationship for her if it's not her final one. So that was very telling, because everybody else on Tamika's list was kind of like a, yeah, Vern, you're good. Congrats, Ashley, you made it to the end. And yeah, Zadia, see you next time. Like, it was kind of like that. But her advice back to Shareese was like telling to the transformation that Shareese has undergone. So,
and I would say, because I'm accused of being a Sharice stan. So, and she also, listen, she's making ways to making friends with Vern, because she sniped at Mizell on her way out too. Criticized him for being the oldest of his siblings and still ain't married. And I gotta say, all jokes aside, she could have used that as a moment to kind of snipe at Vern a little bit, or like be a little cocky about the fact that he still wanted her after after he had that little misstep. But she was like, nah, and that's the thing, probably why I like her, because she stands on business. You know what I mean? Like, if she's saying she don't like you, she's not going to bend a turn. She's not going to, and I know, Jay, you called it out earlier too, saying she's a truth teller, right? She considers herself to be honest no matter what. If she don't like you, she don't like you. When Vern came back and even said, hey, listen, he asked about you, she's like, nah, I'm good on that, because I'm not good with the lying. So hey, maybe there's hope for her in some of her friendships with women, because she had Vern's back when Mizell was up there telling half truths about what happened.
that's that big Leo energy, baby. She couldn't help herself. She's like, bang, bang. And before you go, take this with you.
Exactly. She was like, pop, pop.
Night, night. She was like, "You one of the oldest ones here." It was so cash. Like, I hope so, because you one of the.
It's the irony in the comment, though. On the flip side.
And I got to give it to Mizell too. He took it, because it's like all he could do was smile. It's like, you get a good zinger like that, you just gotta, you got it, baby girl. I'm not even gonna tussle with you.
Any other thoughts on Sharice and Maurice before we shift it? Take that as a no. All right, cool. Shifting it then to obviously Ashley and Don. Let's first start off with Don. No, so let's first start with is it Lakeisha and Ashley? They're round 2, and what your thoughts were on that beef and battle, because I thought, the first round I gave it, I said, you know what, I felt like Lakeisha got done a little bit dirty. But round 2, I was like, baby, you were exactly the same as Ashley. You were a whole hype. You were sniping with your fingers too. No matter how tight you kept your legs together, and no offense like that, but I mean, the way she had wrapped her legs over like that, it don't matter. You were still doing the shootings across the scene. So I meant in terms of gesticulation, bro. As in, like, her whole body was fixed, but still she was shooting. That's what I meant. But yes, I thought she was being a little, combative a little, but go on for it. Yes, Rob, I saw you unmute your mic. Go for it.
So, you know what? I think Lakeisha is not as big of a problem as Don's inability to speak up for himself is, right? I think we all try to pin it to, to kind of label Lakeisha as combative and aggressive, which she can be. But like we heard on the reunion, Don refrained from jumping in the conversation because he agreed with much of what Lakeisha was saying to Ashley. And I think I said this on a previous live. That is the reason why we saw him doing the Beyonce mute challenge, because he literally agreed with everything Lakeisha was saying. Unfortunately, Don is non-confrontational and he's scared. I don't know if he's just scared of Ashley or that's who he is as a person. But if he does not learn how to speak up for himself, it's not only going to, impact, the relationship he has with Ashley, but I think going forward, if you can't speak up for yourself in relationships, you might have a repeat of a disconnect between outside friendships and your partner. So I think I'm not going to say that I think Lakeisha doesn't deserve some heat, but I think I think there needs to be more focus on how we can get Don to kind of like speak up for himself. Whether Lakeisha and Don have a relationship that we don't know about, thus giving her the smoke and the steam and the energy to go off on Ashley the way she's doing, I don't know, but I really don't think that's the point here. I think the point is like, you have to answer to your partner, right? Like, regardless of the outside noise, how are you controlling the narrative within your relationship? And I personally don't think Don truly took the reins in that situation. So that's kind of my reaction to that.
I would love to tag in on that. Lakeisha's definitely combative. But I didn't think she was necessarily wrong. Like, I feel like when you have someone in your life that is very passive and non-confrontational, which those are the most people that cause the most confrontation, because you're non-confrontational, you create this buildup of confrontation. I was literally married to someone like this, where it's like, open your mouth. And because you're not opening your mouth, now I have to open my mouth. And now it's about to be combative, right? Like with either me or me and somebody else, you know? So I feel like that's what it was. And it's kind of like the guy who calls his homegirl or his sister to handle a chick because he doesn't want to have to, you know, do something. So you get your, you know, the girl to do it. And she's that type of friend. He knew that. That's why she was there. Because he's like, she ain't about to let her just talk to me crazy. So at least if Lakeisha's here, she tried that stuff, she's gonna stand toe-to-toe with her. And that's exactly what happened. She was standing toe-to-toe to Ashley. So yeah, it's the same energy, but also, you know, it came because of his experience with Ashley and because he is way too passive. Like, he needs to open his mouth. And those type of people, they're probably one of the most frustrating people for me. Is you won't address what you need to address, but then you cause everybody else to have to address your stuff. And that was whack. Like, I just felt like that was hella whack. She was over the top, so it didn't help because she wouldn't let him get a word in edgewise. If he did try to open his mouth, she probably wouldn't have been able to, he probably wouldn't have barely been able to say nothing anyway. But yeah, so I was not mad at Lakeisha. I think she was what Ashley needed, because otherwise she just would have been pummeling and DMXing Dom the whole time. So that's my thought on the Lakeisha part of it.
On the Lakeisha of it all, again, Ashley done started it again. I'm sorry, I don't know what I see. Ashley started again. She sat there. She was like, Lakeisha simply said, "If I got this, Ashley, I would have been team y'all." And here go Ashley. Well, you came in on this, sis. When I sat down, you was talking about my friend. So, like, you want to be up here friend with everybody. As a real friend do, we defend our friend, okay? So bring it down. Now, if you came at me with this attitude, I would have came at you with a better attitude. You doing the interview. Why are you going to come to the interview with a hostile attitude? Just tell me why. However, I do agree that Lakeisha could have had reeled it in a bit or whatever, because you representing your friend or whatnot. But if this show is about you, Ashley, and everything is about you and all this stuff like that, show us the best you. Why do I have to come in on 10 with you on 10 or whatever every single time I meet you? Why can't I get this personality? Even in this moment when she gave you that compliment, it should have just, we could have calmly figured it out, but Ashley don't know how to be calm. You know, I know we're going to get into the part with her and Stormy later, but I'm like, you sitting here telling people how you not going to show up at different parties and all this stuff like that. But every time we see you, you showing up the same right now. Give me something different. So I can't totally fault the friend for defending. Who I put more blame on is Don, because you are the middle piece to these two women. You're in between. And I get him, you know, in that moment. I didn't want to say anything because it will feel like I'm attacking Ashley. However, you, at least if you're not going to address Ashley, address your friend like, friend, I got it. Let me speak. Let me say what I got to say. Because one, you shouldn't have told the friend all this business, especially if you know she the type that's going to defend you to the end like this. And two, if you start to date Ashley, look at the awkward position that you put your friend and your woman in. That's not how you want to do any relationship, because now you're going to have to choose going forward. We can't just keep our friends and have our relationship. Now we're going to have to make a decision on which one we want to keep. So I feel like Don is the common denominator between the two, and he needed to speak up a lot more for himself in those moments. I know Zadia gives Ashley the advice of doing it, but I think that advice applies to Don too. When you feel some type of way about somebody, sometimes in that moment, there is a way to say it. You don't have to be all rude and belligerent or anything like that, but you can speak up and say, hey, you know what? I don't like how you talking to me right now. I don't like how you addressing this right now. Speak up for yourself, sir. So a lot should have went to Don.
And also him speaking up would have prepped Ashley for the situation with the friend. I just feel like she also just wasn't prepared because, once again, he has this issue with speaking up. So if he can learn to do that, then you won't be catching people by surprise.
That's usually like one of the symptoms of that, though, right? Like they will wait. People like that will wait till the last minute to say something because you're afraid of the reaction of whatever the person's going to be. So then you wait, and then it might be now you spring stuff on people, you know, because it's like, well, why you didn't say nothing? You could have said something before, or prepare her like, hey, here's my friends that are going to be here, or whatever the situation is, right? But he told the friend enough for her to know what Ashley said about him. So she was already prepared to come in. Ashley wasn't prepared for that friend, you know. And then you got Ashley, who is showing her insecurity around women. So she already was just like, a female friend? Oh my gosh. You know, like that already threw her for a loop, you know, when that happened. So no telling what filter went up on her from the jump. As soon as the girl said anything, it was like, how are you gonna say something, you know, whatever. So the girl Lakeisha was on another channel recently, and she was saying how she did not like Don, and he's like 8 years younger than her. Him and her brother are the same age, so it's not that. I think she just is she has that combative energy, and I probably would have did the exact same thing as her.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that, but I think the two of them, and I agree that Don should have stepped in, and I don't necessarily think it's so much what Don told her beforehand that got her ramped up. It was they got into it on themselves, and I think Ashley opened the door, and this is a mistake that a couple of the ladies made when she started openly downgrading him right in front of his family members. Because Lakeisha didn't get into her until she started talking about Don's dressing and talking about his lack of communication. So that's when she started to defending. It wasn't even like she had to take previous information. Ashley gave her enough on her own by just bumping her gums. And I think that's the mistake that Ashley makes. She thinks because she's this bubbly personality that everybody's going to get her and everybody's just automatically going to see that maybe she doesn't really mean any harm. But hey, she definitely was harmful. And I think that's the point even Ashley missed during the reunion, is how harmful her behavior, her tone, and the way she spoke was, because even Tamika had to give her like a little ounce of, a reset, because she's talking, well, I am the star. Well, he is here for me. That attitude is very off-putting. And certain people, when they see that, they're going to check you. Now, again, I don't think Lakeisha was right. I think Don is very much an avoidant type of person. So avoidant people, when conflict arises, they shut down because for whatever reason, whether it's previous trauma or they just don't like conflict at all, they shrink back. So in addition to him not wanting to like pile up on her, he also is not really a conflict. He's not he can't really deal with conflict by himself. And I think that that's kind of why the situation escalated. But Ashley, 100%, Zadia gave her some advice. I think that was the wrong advice, because what's more important that Ashley needs to do is self-reflect. Think before you speak, consider others. As much as you have to consider yourself, but in a relationship, it's also about somebody else. So it can't be me, see me, love me, make me feel good. And I know she's all bent on giving everybody compliments and making all the guys feel good. It didn't work well. Kirsten wasn't pleased. He ran off the stage. So all those compliments don't mean anything. It's how you treat me, how you think about me, how you speak to me when you speak to me. I think those are the things that are the biggest lessons here. And Don needs to really work on setting clear boundaries. And I think what happens is he winds up and bumps up against women who are very loud and outspoken so that he doesn't have to do it. They do it for him, and then maybe he'll chime in here or there. And when it gets to be too much, he runs away. So Ashley was right that he was standing there looking like he had his tail tucked, because that's how he gets in conflict, and he actually thrives better in that environment versus just standing out and saying what he needs to say. She wasn't right for saying it. It was rude to say it, but her observations were spot on.
Yeah, I think Don could have cured it a long time ago. When they were both arguing or getting back and forth, Don could have said, you know what, hold on for a minute. This to his friend Lakeisha. He could have been like, you know what, this is the girl that I'm talking to. Bring it down just a little bit. Don't bite her neck off. You know what I'm saying? Don't bite her neck off. Let her say. But again, same time, Lakeisha, if you're a true friend, you ain't gonna let nobody dog your friend. You're not gonna let nobody dog your friend. Not in your presence. Right? Now, look, you can talk to him, but don't talk about his clothes, don't down him. You don't know what he's been through. You ain't ride with him. I've been there. And Ashley could have been at the reunion. All she had to do was say thank you. All she could have said was thank you. This is the Ashley I like. Or when I saw this Ashley first, would have been cool. I would have been team Don and Ashley. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And you wouldn't have had to go back and forth. But sometimes you got to be able to. Sometimes you got to know when to hold them and fold them. And sometimes you got to know when to. You know what? This ain't the time nor place for me to get it. And Don, if you're gonna stay with Lakeisha, if you're gonna stay with Ashley, you can't have both of them at the wedding together. You can't. If y'all gonna go that far, they can't be at the wedding. You talk about a wedding where a fight getting ready to break out. Lakeisha, his best friend, she can't be part of that bridal party. They ain't nothing. She can't go help pick out a wedding dress. She better wear whatever Ashley picked. You know what I'm saying? If they doing that, nah, you can't have that. And I think Don is so passive aggressive that he didn't know what to say or what to do in that situation. And you can't be that way. Sometimes as a guy, you're gonna have to, whether it's family members, whether it's co-workers, you gotta have a set of boundary in your relationship. And they gotta be boundaries both ways. Boundary with your friends and a boundary with the person that you're dealing with. And when you set those boundaries in that relationship, you got to stick to it, and you got to be the one to kind of calm it down just a little bit. And he can't do it. That's not his personality from what we saw. It seemed like even what he said, it took him, like he rehearsed what he said to say what he said. Like, when they ask me about this is what I'm going to say. So I don't get in trouble by either parties. So, wish him best of luck.
The one thing the friend did say, I did go on her YouTube channel. She did a brief summary. She said her and Ashley apologized to each other at the reunion. So maybe they're on a path to mending fences.
Hey, to Sean's point, not Sean, but Glenn's point, he did kind of put his foot in his mouth a little bit when they asked him about the rock and the hard place comment. I don't know why Tanika go try to set him up like that. Talk about, okay, well, if she's your rock, is this your hard place? Like, you know what that comment means. Stop playing semantics with this man.
He straight set him up.
Yeah, he gonna be a fool that answers though. Like, yes, this is my rock. So, like, Lady, you know what that comment means. Don't do that.
You should have done like y'all say I do when I don't feel like debating.
I said.
I said rock in a hard place. Now, come on now.
I don't care which one it is. Hard place, rock, hard place. Don't matter. That's what he should have said. Don't matter.
Exactly. Don't matter. That's what he should have done.
I mean, with the situation with obviously Lakeisha and Ashley, I think, Glenn, I think you kind of hit something there. It's going to be very hard for them to kind of get along. Even if there's an apology, I just feel like both of them don't like each other. And I think it's because they both see each other in the mirror. As much as she may think she's defending him, there's a way to defend somebody when that person's in a relationship with that person or in some kind of dialogue in that space where they're trying to get together. And I feel like Lakeisha went over the line. I don't think she realized that. And that overprotectiveness just slightly went over that line. And I think I saw it in the reunion as well. So it's going to take two to tango. And these two are probably going to tango very well, But, I definitely have to say that Don is the major culprit in this situation. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't talk. He doesn't set good boundaries for either Lakeisha or Ashley. So then this is going to continue to happen. He's going to consistently find himself in that space. And he needs to be able to communicate with them both to let them know this is what he expects when the two of them, are dialoguing or talking or what he wants in that interaction. And he's had 2 times to sort it out. The first time round, we can give him a bit of grace. Second time round, you the problem. Yeah, you were the problem the first time round, but I'll give you some grace. If you haven't learned since that time and this time now, it tells me you're unwilling really to learn those particular situations. He didn't even try to make a difference. He just kept his mouth shut, which means you're afraid. And at that point, you ain't no good to anybody, right? You're causing more issues between people because you attract toxic people. So he's not even one of those nice people that attract nice people. He is one of those nice people that attract toxic people. So if you keep attracting those toxic people, you need to have better boundaries so that those people can actually stay away from you or they know how to operate when you're around you. He's the type of person that gets the girl that's toxic and then gets a friend draped in a toxic situation trying to save that person. That becomes a toxic embroilment between all of them, and this spills over to other friends too. So right now, Donna's not looking like the greatest, you know what I mean, like in this situation. So I think he really needs to work on that personally. Obviously after that, the conversation between, Don and Ashley, it took a different turn towards there, Ashley, very much like Zadia, very much like Venetia, they have something all in common. They don't listen. They don't want to change, and they believe that they should be the exact same way they are. So I want to get your perspective. I want to get your perspective. So, what is your thoughts then to the conversation that happened between Don and Ashley? It got to a point where Ashley said, "The show is about me. I am the star," and then she then suddenly changed her mind and said, "That's not even my energy, though." So I was mad confused. I don't know if it got edited or whatever. But it's just really weird because she literally just said it 1 minute and the next minute she just changed her mind. So it's like, yeah, it's really weird. What's your guys' thoughts on that, man? What's your guys' thoughts on those situations?
I personally think Ashley just be talking so much that she don't even realize she be saying certain things or whatnot. And she talk out of, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if it's fear, if it's trauma, if it's something, but she be talking out the side of her neck. Because, sis, did you just hear yourself? This man is expressing himself saying, this is how it came off to me, as if she's the star. I am. It's all about me. It is. And then 2 seconds later, when you get correction, I don't even talk like that. Girl, you was talking like that through the whole season. You don't remember? You don't remember what you said on several times? Yes, you talk like that. That is you. That's what you in this moment, because they keep telling you, be about yourself. Take this time to choose you first, and you got that in your head so much that you were just talking crazy to people and you don't even realize. This is how the whole argument between Don and Don's friend and you started, because you sat there in front of her and told her, it's about me. This is about me right now. I got the power. I am in control. I get to choose. He need to be doing any and everything about me. You said it in that moment. Then you get back on this stage, and when he's repeating it, you're saying it to him right there and in that with aggression in your voice. So I was just like, no wonder this man feels the way he does or whatnot, and don't really want you. Like, he wanted you at first, but now I can see the change and flip. And then you answering for him. They asked him, is that when it changed? Yes. Like, okay, we know it changed for you because he didn't take up for you with a friend, but why should he take up for you when you telling him this whole relationship that takes two people to be in is not about him, that he don't have a choice? I was just like total confusion. I'm like, now you went from one extreme to the next. First you was over here people pleasing a whole relationship, and now you just the chosen one, you the golden child and all this stuff like that, and everybody got to bend at your whim. Ma'am, I need her to find all kind of balance in the middle. Like, she is on each extreme and she is nowhere in the middle to receive anything, and then telling them, no, let me speak. Well, you don't overtalked everybody. And you was interjecting to everybody else's segment. You spoke enough, ma'am. Shh, shh. This your time to be quiet. Take it in. Listen to what people are saying to you. Receive some of these messages. And maybe you will be able to find your person and not have to threaten to punch them in the face every 5 seconds.
Yeah. So I love what you said there, Jay, and I'm going to jump off of what you said. But first, I'm going to say I know fake confidence when I see it. And I think Ashley is a true depiction of fake confidence. I think in her head, she sees herself as what she would like to be, but it's not matching up externally. And that's why we're seeing this like grand delusion of display, unfortunately, right? Like, I think that's kind of piggybacking off of your point, Jay. I think this is why we're witnessing so much confusion in who she is and who she like thinks herself to be, is because it's fake confidence. If you were really that chick, and if you knew you were really that chick, you wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you here for me? Yeah, it's all about me. Like, I would be able to tell by the way you present yourself, by the way you walk, by the way you talk, and that none of it is shown that way. None of it is shown externally with Ashley. Like, she has to kind of like do the pseudo I'm big and I'm bad thing because she's insecure. We've seen this in her relationship with Stormy. We've seen this on the show. She's honestly insecure, right? It's fake confidence. Like, the loudest person in the room is usually the one who was fighting to be seen, when really I should see you without having to hear you. That's what confidence is, right? It's that knowing that I am good enough without having to scream it to the mountaintops. And so like I've said this before, I could not be friends with Ashley in real life. I think people like her are very dangerous. And I know we're not on the topic, but I really did not like how she handled Stormy. Regardless of how anyone feels of what Stormy did on screen, which we definitely could say there was some inappropriateness going on between her and Kirsten, the flirting, what have you. But I did not care for how she handled her quote unquote friend. It's debatable whether they are friends in real life. Like, we've heard some talk about them not genuinely being true friends, whatever the case may be. But on the show, if you're presenting as friends, that's what I'm going to go based off of, right? Ashley said something that kind of disturbed me a little bit, when they were doing the recap of like, oh, Stormy came in a dress, and I was very shocked because if it were me, it's all about respect. I wouldn't be wearing rhinestones to a birthday. I wouldn't be wearing this. I don't know about y'all, but for me, I would love for my friends to dress well. I would love for my friends to show up big, bad, and beautiful, because if I'm putting that shit on, I'm not worried about what the next chick is wearing. I'm not. She seems to have this issue with other people outshining her, and I knew she had this issue because she's just like, I'm gonna have respect for people and not show up and show out in this rhinestones and glitter and what have you. I was like, are we really sitting here saying this out loud and not being embarrassed? Like there should be a true self-evaluation and reflection with Ashley as to why she feels that people have to dim their light around her, or that the fact that she has to dim her light in order to be around other people. You don't have to dim your light to shine. So I think, going back to an earlier point that I made, it's fake confidence. And quite frankly, there's a lot of fake confidence going around on Ready to Love, Make a Move, because we see Vern had a little bit of that too, where it's all about what you not gonna do. This is how I'm gonna be. This is how I show up. And quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of it, because it's so performative and fake, and it's such a turnoff. When you know someone's not being real and authentic, and you can sniff that person's weakness out, it's like you might as well keep your mouth shut, because everything you're saying, you don't even believe it. You literally don't even believe what you're saying. So just keep it quiet, keep it on mute, and let your actions speak for themselves. That's it. So that bothered me, how she kind of like did that whole, oh, you are here for me, it is all about me, and then 2 seconds later she was like, oh, that's not even my character. So one thing I'm tired of people doing on this show is gaslighting what the fuck we see on TV. And maybe we need a little bit more context from Aries, and you could tell us how it's edited, but I'm so tired of them saying that's not even who I am. They wouldn't be able to edit this if you're not giving them the content to edit. Like, I get, like, there's some stories that are painted a certain way, but you cannot paint characters. Like, we see you for who you are, regardless of how things are edited. So that's it for me. Stop gaslighting us and stop making us think that, you know, you don't have an attitude problem. You need your attitude adjusted. So let me stop, because I'm getting a little hyped.
Let me tag in then. 100%. I think that people just they haven't seen themselves for real before. Like when Ashley was on her season, she was definitely not the star of the show. She was not the first choice. She was like the fallback, you know, on there. So we really didn't get to dig deep into her. She came off as the happy person on that season, right? So now we're getting to see more of the real her and her personality. So I think that's the part that we're getting, and that overcorrection is now I'm gonna be like, I'm the boss, I'm the star, because I wasn't that the last time, right? So that energy is like strong, even though inside you don't believe it. That's why when the like psychic or whoever it was like, you're enough, tears. Like as soon as she said that, I'm like, so clearly you don't feel like you're enough, because that's why you needed that reassurance, you know? So that was super, super obvious. And so like the way she was sitting so strong on that couch when he was talking, and she's like, I am, you are, and all that, I just was like, something's not right here. Like, and repeating it and saying, you know, to Tamika, you know, that's not my energy. We were looking at you, like we're looking at you right now, this second. Like, so that was really hard to watch, because I'm like, definitely big gaslight, big, huge gaslighting on that part. So that was like, am I supposed to think I'm crazy watching this on TV right now? Like, and then get mad because somebody's saying something about it. It's like, see yourself. Like, come on, you need to see yourself. So I'm feeling you on that part. And I definitely was just like, this is some psycho stuff going on right now. And the same thing as you, like, I want my girls to look good. Like, I'm not one of those people that I want to hang around a bunch of ugly girls so I can look like the prettiest girl. No, I want my clique we need to be coming stunting. Like, I want to come in with all my people looking good, and to be known by that, not by, oh, you're the prettiest out of this group, you know, or whatever. It's like, no, hey, whatever. What's the flavor? What you want? We got this. You got that. You got whatever. You know, we all looking good. So I'm just not that type of chick. So that I wasn't happy with. I definitely didn't like how she handled Stormy. I thought that was terrible. And then to keep going, a friend that don't do that. See, that'll get you cussed out like real hard. That whole friend thing, just because you say friend and then say something crazy, that don't clear it up. You know, like that was pissing me off. And the fact that you made it seem like you were cool and then literally got on camera on all the behind the scenes from away from Stormy and made them feel like, and said all this crazy stuff. And that wasn't even what happened. Like, apparently when she walked away from the table, she was not walking away in anger. She was being called away by production. She went out there. It was not a big deal. You did not say nothing about them being weird until you got into the camera after the fact to go do your interviews, not to the people. So that part made me irritated because at the reunion, that is the first time they're seeing any clips of anything on the show. You have not seen one thing. So you get there, you've been my homegirl, you was smiling, even on the couch. Y'all was sitting there, you smiling in my face. And then the clips, I'm like, oh, you talking big shit, on here right now. And she's like, well, I was mad at you, friend. I was mad at you. You are weird. Like, I could not be her friend in real life, like ever, because that would piss me off. I just couldn't do it. So all that energy, again, it goes back into what Araba was saying about the confidence factor. Is like, you really don't. You're intimidated. If I can't wear what I would normally wear, which I don't think Stormy was dressed provocatively or anything. She had a regular dress on. Why are you tripping? You mad because you think I look better than you right now? Okay. Sounds like something you need to be working on. Like, and your man is the problem. It wasn't her. He was doing most of the flirting. He was smiling at her like he was smiling at Zadia on that date. So you're mad at the wrong person, babe. You need to be mad at this dude who you like more, and you know he don't like you like that, but you want him to, and you're mad because, and you're gonna be doing that everywhere if that's the case. Every time y'all go somewhere and it's a pretty woman, you're gonna be looking at him like, are you looking at her? Every time y'all go somewhere, you can't be living like that. So I feel like that, she needed to be called out about that, but I still didn't feel like she received it, the way she needs to. That's why I keep reiterating that she needs to look back at this, sit down in front of the screen by herself and be like, what the hell am I looking like right now? Like, am I making any sense? Because it definitely came off as like all of your stuff was just screaming. Like, it was just the big movements, the big energy, the big just wanting to be the star, clearly, because everything you had something to say. Like, whether it was your segment, somebody else's segment, you over there, looking at every little thing, doing something, and I feel like every season you have this person who wants to be like the star of the reunion. They have that in their mind, like, I'm about to come there and I'm about to act up. You can see it on my season. You can see it on pretty much every season. That one person be like, I'm about to just get my shine. This is my last chance, And I feel like she was definitely that energy this time. So yeah, not rocking with that, and then just tagging that friend thing. That friend thing was getting me. I was triggered by the stage pretty much the whole time. So yeah, I was with you on that.
I just want to say quickly, I've realized that us as women, we can call a man a narc in 5 seconds, even though I don't. I rarely use that word. But when we see those traits in women, it's almost like it doesn't compute. Ashley shows a lot of narcissistic traits. And I haven't seen, maybe I saw one narc in the thread here, but that's literally how Ashley acts. Even that mess with her and Shareese having a whole meltdown, and then Ashley gets to screaming. Like, and then the way she treats Don, if that was vice versa, the way she treated him, talking about his clothes, very abusive behavior, which is the only reason why I let the friend slide, because I'm just like, the friend knew all the stuff that she was doing, and then she, in her responses, well, it's all about me, so I could treat people however. So yeah, we can say she's insecure. She may be. She's all these things, but she shows a lot of narcissistic traits, and I rarely say that on this channel. And I think she really needs to, about men or women. I think she really needs to look into that because her behavior and the way she treated Don is disturbing. And even the way she tried to, try to manipulate Kirsten into trying to be with her. Kirsten didn't want to be with her. He crazy too. He got his own thing going on. But he hates that lady. He didn't have nothing for that lady. I think he thinks she's nuts. He done met his match. So that's pretty much. I still have no tears for Stormy. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I have no tears for Stormy. Because Stormy was at that table cutting up. Ain't nothing was wrong with her dress. There was nothing. And Ashley should have told her she had beef with her. But I still have no. I ain't got nothing for Stormy because Stormy wasn't right either. But
I blame Ashley for that though. Have you seen your friend getting out the gate at the table talking to your man, and you don't say anything, and then your excuse is, "Girl, you know me, because if I ain't talking, something wrong." Nah, you should be talking. You should say, "You know what? Yo, he here for me. What they're saying? Check the coat, boo. Just check the coats. You know what I'm saying? Do your job. Your job was there to question him or ask him about me, and you didn't do your job. So." I blame Ashley a little bit for the Kirsten and Stormy situation. I blame Don a little bit too because once Ashley goes off on you the first time and you don't say anything, she feels like she can go off on you every time, and you're not going to say anything. When she went off on him the first time, he should be like, "Nah, I don't roll like that. You're not going to have a conversation with me like that. We can have a conversation like we're on adults, but you ain't going to put your finger in my face. You ain't going to say you want to slap me if I say something like that." You can't do that. And so when he didn't say anything or step up, it gave her the green light to say, "You know what? Every time I feel like saying this to you, and every time I feel like going rah-rah, I'm gonna go rah-rah because I know you ain't gonna do anything." So that's what gave her the unction and ability to say, "You know what? It's all about me." Which translation mean, "Hey, when we in this relationship, ain't about you. You take a backseat to me. It's about me. When we walk in the restaurant, I'm the one walking for." So she just told him, like, "You know what? I wear the pants in this relationship. If we together, it's all about me. It's nothing you can say. I'm gonna tell you who to deal with, who to act with, and I don't like it. I'm gonna just go on a rage and a rant, and you're gonna have to deal with it." And for him being involved in toxic relationships, he'd be like, "Okay, no, whatever you say." And that's why it's never gonna work with them. And when they walked off the stage together to go do this fake whatever, I'm like, bro, if you don't set your butt back down. Like, if you don't have, you just said you didn't want to be with this girl, but now you really to walk off stage with her. I see why you always been in toxic relationships, because you keep going with it and you keep going with it and you don't never put your foot down. And I'm not saying to be rude, not saying to be nasty, but again, it goes back to having those boundaries. This is what I'm going to tolerate. This is what I'm not going to tolerate. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're not going to do. Because you as a man or a woman, you got to have standards. And it seemed like Don would let his standards go down to be back with Ashley. I mean, she cut you the first time because you didn't text her and communicate, and you was happy to come back. Now, were you happy to come back for her, or were you happy to come back for the check? You know what I'm saying? What were you happy to come back for? Knowing that you didn't want to be in a relationship with her. And Don didn't want to be with her. It was just one of those things that was there. But I blame Ashley for a lot of things. Her actions and her words. She has to see herself. Hopefully she see herself in this and like, you know what? I don't like what I see. Like, I did too much. I was doing too much. I was involved in everybody's stuff. She really came out like she wanted to be the star, right? She wanted it to be surrounded about her and everything about her. And the way that she looked, it is about you. It's about how you need some help, how you're not healed, how some of your relationships are not going to work, and how you can't keep bullying men and women. But you didn't kind of bully Stormy, though, because, again, where was all that energy at the table? I would question that. If this woman is taking your man, where was all this energy at the table to Stormy? But you wait till you got to the reunion to have this energy? You should have had that energy at the table. Like, hold up, girl, I really don't need you. Go back to the car. Me and him gonna finish this date. That's why she's a front runner. It's fake. It's fake.
The only red herring, I think, to your statement, it implies that people's lack of boundaries or lack of correction almost excuses other people's behavior. I'm sure that's not what you meant, but
Yeah.
Ashley being narcissistic, manipulative, a front runner has nothing to do with the fact that Don has a lack of boundaries and is prone to toxic relationships. Ashley is going to find another Don, whether it's Don or not, if this is the way she acts. They both have separate problems, separate and apart. The same thing goes for Stormy. I don't need my friend to tell me or correct me at a table not to do what Stormy did at the table. That is the only part that I see people, I feel like they're getting mixed up. Yes, Ashley could have told her that she was stepping out of line. That doesn't mean that she wasn't already stepping out of line to begin with. Just because Ashley has piss poor communication skills, was dodging the smoke, ducking the smoke with Stormy, and then went behind her back to blindside her at the reunion, still has nothing to do with the fact that Stormy doesn't know how to act on a friend date. I just feel like people keep conflating the two. I don't need my friend to tell me how to act if I go meet her friend and her husband. I would never be doing what Stormy was doing. Just because I feel like they both were wrong at the same time. And it's almost like I feel like people won't allow that possibility. Ashley did not communicate her boundaries. She did not tell Stormy she was upset. She blindsided her at the reunion. Facts. Stormy was uncouth at the date. She did not know appropriate boundaries when meeting somebody's friend's date or boyfriend. She overdid her part. Check. Like they both were going on at the same time. And Ashley was being manipulative at the reunion. So was Stormy. Stormy started crying when she got caught. What were those tears for?
Mm-hmm. True.
She looked at the screen, saw she looked like a homewrecker, and started to cry. Women manipulation number one. She tried to duck smoke because she didn't want to look like how she looked on the screen.
True. And I mean, everybody at that table was wrong because we can't give
everybody was. Everybody was.
Everybody at that table had issues and had problems because all of them had some things that whole meeting was wrong, and everybody needs some healing from that table. Kirsten ain't getting his because that brother mad.
I disagree. I just don't think I didn't see it. I mean, I didn't see it as blatant, and I do think there was some heavy editing on that whole dinner. It just didn't look flow. It didn't look like it flowed to me. I feel like the brother comment and all that, it felt like it was coming from the conversation more than and what Kirsten was saying and her just reacting. I didn't feel like she was like trying to holler at the dude. It didn't come off like that to me. That's just me though. But when she walked off, like I said, I just didn't feel like that energy was there because I feel like them sitting at the table, production pulling Ashley away or whatever, and them trying like cameras are still here. So yeah, you're just kind of trying to keep the conversation going. I don't feel like she was just like, oh, wow, so you're this way and that way. I didn't see that. Like, I just didn't. I feel like it was a part of the conversation. She was keeping it going. He was doing way more of the flirting part, like, and I got a brother, and he looked good just like me. That was him saying that stuff. And she's like, well, we'll talk about that later. I just didn't get the heavy on the Stormy flirting vibe. That's
You ain't see nothing wrong with her talking about you got a brother?
I need to get my cap for Aries right now.
It wasn't like she just came at him like, do you have a brother? You know, I don't know. I just didn't. It didn't.
Would you say that if you was out meeting your friend's prospective guy?
No, I mean, but
yes, she would.
No, she would not. Aries would not do nothing.
Aries on the Dark Art podcast.
No, she's not overtly flirtatious like that.
At him. I don't know. But however, I don't think that
I didn't see it like that, but I see how it can be taken like that because she was like, we'll talk about your brother later. We'll bring it back in. But I could see how it was taken like that. However, my biggest point is still where I stood when we first had this conversation. If it was a problem, Ashley has never had a problem of speaking up. We've seen this through this whole show The only time she has a problem with speaking up is when it comes to certain women. She been up in Kirsten's face. She been in Don's face. She been all up and through Sharice segment or whatnot. Every time she has something to say, all of a sudden, my friend, you supposed to read me when I'm quiet. You never know me to be quiet, baby. I would expect you to be quiet right now because I'm supposed to be helping you vet this man. I'm supposed to be asking these questions. So you supposed to be doing intel quietly. You supposed to be observing. So yes, I would expect you to be quiet. If there's a problem,
and letting him see how he flirting with your friend, and then like,
if there's a problem that of something I'm doing, speak in that moment. If we are friends, but this lets me know that we're not friends because you never addressed it. Even when I talked to you afterwards, we had a conversation about how I feel about this man. You didn't say, hey, you was doing too much, girl. I seen this, you doing that or whatever. You didn't say anything. You waited till she got on this stage. You sat real close to her because you already knew what was about to come. Try to comfort her all in this moment. Talking about friend. Be real close and holding on to her, smiling like this every 5 seconds. And then gonna have the nerves to say when she get up. Now, I do agree with Seaway. The tears came out of nowhere. What the heck you crying for? Why you walking off the stage or whatever and stuff like that? Unless you really got something in the background that made you feel like this already. But in this moment, you talking about now I feel bad. Yeah, you should feel bad because you never talked to this girl who is your friend about anything. However, we never see you not talking.
The tears were because she saw what Ashley was saying.
I get that, but still, I'm not about to cry. I'm about to look at you like
the scene, though. I think it was Ashley in the background saying, yeah, she was on my date. And it like literally 3 interviews behind the scenes with Ashley talking.
You know when my tears is about to come? My tears are going to come because these cameras is rolling. I can't pop you upside your mouth for saying this. You know what I'm saying? That's where my tears are going to come. But I'm not about to walk off this stage and cry about you making me look like some home wrecker. Like, child, we about to correct all this right now. Friend, why you got me looking like this? Why you didn't come and address me? You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm about to give you the energy you've been giving everybody else. Like, girl, nah. Because you ain't about to do me like this because you feel like this is your show. This is your moment. You could have had your moment without trying to play me.
And that's what I think that was from. Now, she might not be that type of person that would, stand 10 toes like that. Even on her season, she started busting out crying about something that the dude did on the season or whatever. So I think that's what it is. But you would see that Ashley, she tried to give Kirsten that smoke. It didn't work. When that whole Zadia conversation came up and he's like,
that's what I'm saying. She's been in everybody's face except for the women.
But when he stood up to her, that was it. Like she was turned on after that. She loved it, right? Like Don didn't do that. He's been backing down. That's why he's getting what he's getting, kind of to Glenn's point, because he backed down she was like, okay, he's a little punk, so I could punk him, basically. And she can't do that to Kirsten. So she kissing Kirsten in the lips. She ain't doing that to Don. She was all up in Kirsten's face, rubbing his bald head. She was just excited for that toxicity. And when he got on that stage looking straight ahead, she also was like, I don't know what's wrong with him. It was so much fun to hang out with him and everything. And, it's no hard feelings and da, da, da. And I'm like, child. It's just a lot of mess. So I think everybody had really great points. I think that was the main thing is she know who to try. She plays the game like she's, the victim on one side, but really is the main one causing, all the drama. So yeah.
So can I say y'all are probably gonna call me Captain Save a Ho? But I actually felt Stormy's tears were genuine. To me, they didn't come off as manipulative because from watching the footage of the reunion, I wasn't exactly clear if she was crying because of how she was portrayed on TV or if she was just truly not aware that in that moment she was coming off as flirtatious and she was like responding to the damage that might have done in that situation. That's just to me. I was unclear about where those tears were coming from. And I don't. Sorry?
She was embarrassed.
She was embarrassed, right? But I think
because she was embarrassed.
I think so. For me, I was giving her a little grace as to what she could be embarrassed about. And so that's why I'm kind of like taking it a little bit easy on Stormy. I'm not saying what she did was right, right? But I think in certain situations, and this once again, please don't. I'm not trying to be Captain Save a Hoe, but I think I don't think Stormy doesn't come off as the type of person to be malicious in that way. Maybe like I don't see her as that type of person, and so it's hard for me to kind of paint her as like the villain in this situation. I think there's a pretty good chance that she just was not aware that she came off that way. That's one. Or two, she probably was edited heavily in that circumstance. And I think I really felt bad for her because regardless of how she acted in that circumstance, she did not deserve to be blindsided the way that she was at that reunion. Point blank, period. Because if me and my friend got beef, that's cool, right? Like friendships, we're gonna have beef, we're gonna go through shit. But call me out in a way that's conducive to mending the relationship. Don't call me out in a way where like you call me out in front of these people that we don't know. You call me out behind my back. You know, you have me like I can't even be on defense because I don't even know that I'm coming to a reunion to defend myself. Like I felt like that was unfair. Like if we're gonna have beef, like in a sense, tell me to square up, right? Don't just like start punching, but tell me like get up and let's duke this out. And I just don't feel like Stormy was given that chance. But I could be missing something. I just felt like, oof, it was a lot on Stormy. It was a lot.
I think so too. And that's why I said the editing piece, because apparently that was like a 2-hour lunch. So it is plenty of time to address the whatever flirtation if that was the case. I don't know. I just don't buy Ashley. I just don't buy her on a lot of things. On that, it did not feel like I felt like it was definitely a lot of fakeness that made it seem like they were hella cool for those however long it was between the reunion and the time of filming. And then, you know, the blindsiding was just like, oh, you're and then go run back there and try to be cool afterward. Because if you really felt that way, all that energy, you was stopping Tamika and everybody from letting you get yours off on Stormy. And then when Stormy gets up, now you want to chase her in the back. Are you feeling that energy or are you not? Which one was it?
I think that's part of the reason why I'm just like, I'm skeptical of the tears because she came back. Sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. You got to jump in there quick, boy.
Like, Jay, it be your own friend. Come on. What the hell?
You gotta be like double judge, John. You gotta get in with the right timing. No, but I was gonna say this real quick. I think
I'm gonna have to jump like that guy jumped on the judge in the courtroom.
No, you told me when I compared you to him before, I was comparing you to a criminal. So
I can do what you can't. I can do what you can't.
No, what I was saying real quick, Sean, real quick though. I was like, I think that's what makes me skeptical about it because, and this is just probably because I would react totally different. I've probably been thirsting in the moment. Like you can have this stuff, you can have this show. Either I'm gonna do one or two things. Keep your storyline and work with your story and leave me out of it, or I'm about to clear my name or whatever. And it's the fact that we didn't get any of that and maybe they edited out. That was just my biggest issue with it. Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry. Let me let my dog in.
No worries. Yeah, so I think all of what y'all said added some color, but I really think all it's about is it could have been embarrassment, it could have been all of those things, but it's accountability because she was feeling like, oh shoot, this is how my actions played out in real life. These are the repercussions of what I did, and now everybody can see it. And I don't think I did anything wrong. So that's when the tears come because she was struggling with reconciling her actions, the things that she did, combined with how it looked to everybody else. Now, hey, maybe she didn't intentionally mean to be overtly flirtatious, flirtful's not a word, flirtatious, but she was, okay? She was. It was, they had energy and they had chemistry between the both of them. So it was what it was. Maybe her intentions weren't for it to go anywhere, but it was flirtatious. I mean, we can't just sit up here and pretend like, you know, she was just being a good old nice friend and she just showed up to just be a good old girlfriend. No, she might have done that, but she also was being flirtatious. Come on.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
That's already a bad start. She said, "Hear me out."
Yeah, if y'all want to give me the title Captain Save Ho tonight, give it to me. But hear me out. What if, right? Stormy saw the footage, and in that moment, she was super regretful for being flirtatious in the way that she was that night. Is she not allowed to repent for her sins? Like, maybe can that be where the tears came? Kojo, don't do that to me.
Sound like TD Jakes.
We just have to stop this.
I might have to repent,
This
but I don't have anything to repent for.
You Stephanie King now? You creating a whole horror show narrative that never even happened, Araba.
Someone in the comments said, "Take off your cape, Araba." I don't know.
You can't save everybody. You can't save everybody.
Not that like I feel super bad for the girl, but I think it's just very unclear to me. Like and you're gonna have to help me out with the legal terms, Seaway. Inconclusive evidence is that what they refer to it in court? But I feel like there's inconclusive.
You ain't got none
evidence.
either.
Huh?
You ain't got none either. Yours is circumstantial.
I feel like I don't know the source of Stormy's tears. And that is why I felt bad for her in that moment. Like, I don't know if it's because of the way production edited her, or she was, crying because of how she actually acted in that moment and was regretful. I just don't know. So I'm giving her grace. Maybe she really wasn't aware, or maybe she was heavily edited that way, because she said on the reunion, I look like a homewrecker. That could be they're making me to look like a homewrecker. I don't know. So I'm playing Captain Save Ho tonight, but sometimes you got to save some hoes. Sometimes.
And then when she didn't show up to the part where the friends were at, when the friends kind of gave and she was the only one that's not there, they made it like, well, story. Yeah, because it just made it way more juicy than it really was, when really she had to fly out of the country or whatever. It's not like a real situation. So I'm like, they just made it seem like way more. I don't know.
Maybe production definitely added to it. Production added to it. I don't think anybody here doesn't think they added to it. They definitely added the spice to it. They edited her Ashley's get up to walk away. Like, they made things worse than what it was. And to Raba's point, I don't even want us to focus on whether her tears are fake or not, because I feel like we could get into a whole path. I don't know why she was crying. My opinion is that she was either embarrassed or upset at production for making her look away she felt like she didn't do. But the only part I stand on is that they can't edit what you don't give. And there was no amount of editing that could have made that vibe between them. Like, you can't edit that. All them fluttery eyes and, "Ooh, I want a man that look like you." I'm just like, what is going on? It was so bad. Like, it was so bad. I'm not even lying to y'all. It was really bad.
I'm gonna go back and watch it tonight so I can it was bad. I need a fresh perspective.
It was bad.
I want a man who look like you. You got a brother. Ooh.
She was
trying to marry to the family.
Kirk was leaning over there at the table like, and they just forgot Ashley was saying, he forgot who he was on a date with, because he was making eye contact with Stormy. If a guy's really into you, right, he's gonna make eye contact with you. And he forgot Ashley was sitting there, and him and Stormy were like this, and they were the only two. They're like, they're the only two having a conversation.
Trust me.
They were like that. They were meeting.
They were locked in real bad. They were locked in.
They were locked in. And they was locked in.
And I just don't believe it. I'm sorry. I need.
Aries, you don't believe it?
I don't. I feel like it was made to look like
what. No, Aries, you don't?
What? What? What are you trying to insinuate here? No, I didn't. I don't believe
Look
it.
at me in the eyes and tell me that.
No, I will not.
There you go. I mean, listen. Hey, look. I mean, brothers have been in this position before. You ever dated a girl, and then she brings her friend to the party, and her friend is finer. I'm not saying that she actually is finer. I'm saying, but to you, the girl is finer, and then that girl is giving you some pressure. Yeah, you can sometimes get lost in the haze. You can forget where you are, and that essentially is what happened. Okay, that's what happened. And Stormy played a little bit of a role in it. She lapped up a little bit of the fun and a bit of the waves. Now, she wasn't crazy flirting, but she was accepting some of the energy. She didn't shut it down, you know what I mean? So she just needs to be accountable for that and just be honest about it. Now, she probably can't be honest about it because it sounds like she's trifling if she is. It actually is a bigger, for her to admit it, it sounds even more trifling. That is this, unless she can find a really creative way of saying, you know what, I got a little bit lost in the haze. It's kind of hard to explain to a friend that, you know what, you got muddled up in a situation where it's someone else's man. That's a friendship ruiner. So she has to deny it. Let her cry. She has to. If that friendship is to last, she needs to deny. She needs to play the player code and deny till she is dead and gone and buried. And let that be a letter from the grave saying, you know what, you were right. I did flirt with your man about 30 years ago, but I've now passed on to pastures green. So, you know, that's the situation. She got to carry that to the grave. So shout out to Stormy. You know the player's handbook. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it just took on a life of its own now, because here we're talking about it when she could have taken all the steam and say, hey, if that's how it looked, that's not what I meant. That's all you got to say. Keep it pushing. But all this denial and crying and falling around the place, it just makes you look more guilty, because it's like, oh, I didn't know. Come on. All she said was you look like you was flirting. And, you could just be like, actually, no, that was not the case. That's not what I was trying to do. That's it. I thought I was going to someplace else. This is how I dress. And keep it pushing. Especially if behind the scenes she's saying, I didn't even know this girl and blah, blah, blah. You know, when you carry on like that, and again, I'm not saying she's guilty of anything per se, or she had designs on Kirsten, but there was some level of banter between them. It wasn't like, oh, she was going to, steal him behind the scenes, but she was, having a little bit of banter. She obviously thought he was attractive enough to ask if he had a brother. So that means, AKA, that's like, you look good. Is there somebody else on that family tree that look just like you that I could be with? She's paid him a compliment. There's really, at the end of the day, if it was harmless, then she should have just owned it and been like, hey, listen, yes, he was an attractive guy. I thought that I didn't want him per se, but he was attractive. Keep it pushing. That's it.
That Sean, or whatever conversation that her and Ashley had afterwards. That should have been, I would have highlighted that. That would have been me, because I would sit there. I might have to banter with you. I'll sit there, let you flirt with me, do all this stuff like that, and then be like, friend, you see all that stuff he was doing. You see how he's doing. Imagine if I wasn't your friend, who he'd be talking to. So if we had that conversation afterwards, sit in that moment. I'm going to give her the same thing I told Sharice. Sit in that moment and address it. I just told you about how he was. I told you how he was flirting with me and this stuff. That would take all of that off of you. Like Sean said, there's two things you could have did that took all of that heat off of you. You getting up. That's why I'm a little skeptical. You getting up and running off and crying. I don't know. You look guilty. You look kind of guilty a little bit.
Back to, that's that accountability. And certain people, and ladies, y'all know how to do it. When that accountability rises up and it's like, oh shoot, I gotta face this accountability wall, them tears just get to flowing, because it's like, no, I'm not gonna take this L, so I'm just gonna cry my way right on through it. And that's why she looked guilty. And again, I'm not saying she had designs on Kirsten, because according to her, she actually gave some good advice to Ashley. But in the moment, we have to own it. Just like we wanted Tabari to own the fact that there was something else that kept him in the process, that he could have reconsidered. Stormy needs to own, could she have done anything different? Forget about her dress. Forget about how she showed up looking. She's a pretty girl. She should have wore what she wore. End of story. Her behavior could have been different. Knowing what she knows now, and this is the test. If you know what you know now, would you do it again? If she knows what she knows now and how it played out, would you still ask him for a brother? Would you still be smiling and twinkling in your eye when you talk to him? And the answer, I can guarantee, if she gonna be honest, is no.
We sullying this lady name, so maybe
Twinkling in the eye. The twinkling is killing me.
sullying this young lady name.
No, I don't think she's a bad person at all. I think
I don't think any of us do. I just think she just didn't have a great moment, and sometimes we don't have great moments, and that just is what it is. I don't think that was a good moment, and I'm sure when the scheme of things, it probably none of it was worth it, because I don't even think Ashley was her friend for real. So I would be really pissed if my name getting drugged through the mud for a lady I'm doing a favor. This all kind of turned out kind of sucky for Mama Stormy, to be honest. So, you know, if she gains anything out of it, maybe I don't know, maybe she'll find out she's a little flirtatious. I'm not sure what she gains out of this at all, but
well,
I'm sure.
Let's hope she come on over here to Kojo and interview so we can hear her side of the story. You know, let us hear.
She ain't gonna want to come over here. She's not gonna be accountable for them fluttering eyes. And the words she
me
said.
from her season.
Listen, them eyes could have been fluttering at something else, and the editing got her right.
There was dust in the room.
It was dry.
Dust, Jay. It was a dusty production environment.
Them contacts got a little dry at the time, like. Or it was fluttering because he said something inappropriate. It was like, oh, excuse me.
You are bad. Let's move into the last one. Obviously, Zadia and Cam. You know what? I my opinion has changed slightly. You know, I was really not giving Cam as much smoke, but I realized that's some bullcrap that he pulled at the end with a picture. You know, that was some bullcrap. Yeah. Because I forgot he did photography, so I just realized how bullcrap it was. That he produced 2 photos of his greatest artist. I got you a gift. You couldn't do anything else apart from a photo? You couldn't bring anything else apart from what you're good at? Sir. So yeah, what's you guys' thoughts on Zadia and Cam? I know this is going to be a good conversation. I can tell people are ready to go.
Well,
yes, Siwei said she's ready to go.
That was a souvenir from their last date, and see, you're not giving him credit for being thoughtful.
And
we can't let you just throw our brother under the bus like that, because that was a souvenir from their last date where he took her on a photo shoot all about town. So
and he didn't just give her the print. He didn't just give her the prints. He framed it. Exactly, you know how much it costs. You know how much it costs to print off that size.
That's right. You go to Michael's, them frames be like $100 to $200 easy.
Exactly.
Can I just go before y'all tussle? I just want to say why this conversation with Cam and Zadia is exhausting. This is the most exhausting conversation because people cannot see past their own biases. They won't appreciate nuance. And they don't see both sides. And I don't know if this is a lawyer training, but everything in my mind, I see both sides. I just don't know how not to, right? And I just feel like this is exhausting because people do not like Zadia. They find her annoying. They think they have all these issues. And so they refuse to see the dark arts that is Mr. Cam. Cam has done multiple dark arts behavior, including but not limited to bringing that picture up on that reunion. So I'm going to let everybody go because I've already said what I have to say. Zadia don't listen. She ain't going to listen. And at this rate, I don't know who she going to find until she learns how to take good counsel. If you haven't figured out how to take good counsel and take people by their word, then I don't know what to say. If you're living in Delulu land as a woman, I can't help you. I can't help delusional women. I can't help delusional people, but I definitely cannot help delusional women. And I think Zadia, unfortunately, falls into that category. But Cam is not right. He ain't right.
I'm going to say what I need to say real quick, so I got to finish cooking. But damn you, Cam. Damn you, Cam. Okay? Because I was over here saying this man is over here being honest. He's straight up or whatever. But there is a problem. Though your mouth is telling this woman, you busy, you don't have time, this, that, your actions have shown her and the collective that you trying to be in her life? Why are you taking all the women out? Why are you doing all these extra things? You got over here Vern validating for you and all this stuff like that. So I see why everybody is in confusion. And over here telling Zadia, go ahead and keep this man around because you playing nice and good with the whole team. That's kind of manipulative or stuff. You don't have time for her. So how you taking the whole crew out? How you making sure the whole crew is safe and getting home?
You
Say what now?
Cam was playing husband.
Takes a second to text.
He was laying husband. He was laying husband schwong. Okay, he was doing husband duties. He allegedly, he was showing up on time, but one time,
and with gifts though.
And with gifts, he was doing then. But then, as soon as you feeling all warm and fuzzy. But I just need to remind you that I'm very, very busy and my priority is my work. Then here goes Zadia. So are you saying you don't want to be here? No, I'm not saying that. I just want you to know that I'm super, super busy. Okay, Zadia, so do you want to leave? No, I want to stay. I want to be here. Just want to let you know that I'm super, super busy. Dang, like, bro, what the heck? It's so annoying.
He's trying to be the mayor of the city, man. He's giving tours.
He's being a diplomat.
He's trying to be the mayor of the city. He likes to be liked, right? He likes to be liked. He wants to be the mayor of the city. Everybody likes me. Everybody likes Cam. So at the end of the day, I want to have a friend, right? At the end of the day, I don't want any enemies. I want a lot of friends, right? And what Cam did, you know what Cam did the whole time? Cam promoted himself the whole time. He was promoted in marketing what he does the whole time, right? From the chain on his neck to the photos to the dates they were having, everything he was doing, Cam was promoting Cam. Cam wanted to make sure everybody knew Cam was a pharmacist. Everyone to know that Cam was a business maker. That Cam had, I don't know about the money machine and all that in the house, but it looked like Cam was running some other stuff when they were showing the money machine in the house. But again, he wanted everybody to know that Cam does what Cam does, right? And so what Zadia made a mistake allegedly by giving him the goodies with the first couple. Well, they're only there 2 or 3 weeks, and she gave him the goodies. It's amazing, right? That she has no. It's amazing when you have a guy in your life and you have no self-control. And I'm gonna say that because she, prior to one of the vignettes, that she said she hadn't been with anybody in over a year, and like in June, whatever the case may be. So now allegedly she gets Cam, who's the first thing who gives her some attention, and she thinks her cookie dish or cookie, all right, is gonna keep him around. And he's like, yo, his job and his money was more important to her than she would ever would be, because he's trying to come up and he's trying to get what he needs. He's not moving. He wasn't never going to move to DC. He never was going to be in a relationship with her. I'm interested to know did Cam apply for the show, or was Cam recruited for the show? Because Cam seemed like every time she was getting ready to let Cam go, Cam was like, hold on for me. Don't let me go. I got another check. Don't let me go. I get another check. Don't let me go back. He changed his tune a couple times just so he could stay a little bit. So Cam was out there promoting for himself. I think he did like Zadia for a certain extent. But when he said he was relieved that the cameras were gone. He was relieved that he could go make his money. And yes, he may intentionally not say Zadia's name. He was kind of relieved that she was gone as well, because as she mentioned, she called him all the time. He didn't call her. So Cam went back to his normal everyday life when they said cut and everything was over. And he was fine with that. She was the one that wasn't fine.
So I love what you said, Seaway, because I think people are not able to understand that two things can happen at once, right? The vitriol that people have for Zadia has completely relieved Cam of accountability. There's this narrative that's going on that is even saying that Cam is socially awkward. And that's why he keeps bringing up the fact that he doesn't have time and his words are being jumbled and this, that, the third. If you're going to be anything in this life, be so effing for real. Like, the more y'all give the benefit of the doubt to this man, y'all are going to benefit the doubt into yourself getting played. Like, this man knows exactly what he's saying. He's not socially awkward. He's not jumbling his words. He's not a nerd. He doesn't have social anxiety. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's milking the cow. And I'm not here to say that, she's sleeping with him or not sleeping with him, whatever he's getting out of the situation, which may be companionship, what have you, he's getting something. I saw this TikTok earlier that said, the most successful people are the people who reply quickly to your messages and the people who make time for everything. And I really had to think about that comment because I couldn't, I think like we've all grown up to think that like people who respond late or people who, say that they don't have time for things are like super efficient, right? Because they're doing all these busy things and what not. But like, it kind of makes sense. Really efficient people who are successful at what they do, they manage their time well. So I don't for one second, allegedly he has a very successful business in New Orleans. I've been seeing a lot of like chit chat on certain posts that Cam is actually like a big shot in New Orleans. Like, let's be so effing for real. I don't believe for one second that you're like, you just have no time on this earth. Y'all love to use Barack and Michelle as an example. Oh, if Barack has time for Michelle, then like, why have we forgotten this narrative? He just does not want to be with this woman. And I also see a lot of comments about, oh, Cam couldn't be any more direct. Actually, he was not direct. Like, being direct is him saying, hey, Zadia, I do not want to pursue anything with you any further. Period, point blank. He never said those words. He showed up for filming. He, when she asked him, where's your heart? Where do you want to be? He constantly said, I'm busy, but let's just see where this goes. That's not being direct. It's giving mixed signals. And I feel like why are people kind of like brushing past this? This man is really like, he's like dark arts minister. Like dark arts minister. Like, please give him some type of accountability. And I'm not saying everyone, right? I think for the most part, there's some people that have been able to call Cam on his BS, but this man knows exactly what he's doing. Y'all can't sit here and tell me when a man truly wants you, like you're going to know. He's going to be so direct with you because he's not going to risk losing you with jumbling and fumbling his words. Like, let's be so, if y'all are going to be anything, be so effing for real. Like, calling him socially awkward, that's an easy cop out. That's lazy. He's not socially awkward. So that's
you want to know why?
Go ahead.
Why people are saying that? Because there's two categories of people. There's the category of people who just feel like Zadia missed obvious cues of his flip-floppiness, right? Which I think a lot of us do agree that she missed his flip-floppiness, right? Which should automatically mean if a man is flip-flopping, he ain't serious, so just walk away. Then there's also a group of women that I've noticed on this channel and around who seem to get some joy by saying that a man doesn't want another woman, as if that means that you're a prize or something. Like, I see a lot of times, like, women get in the comments, he just didn't want her. He just didn't want her. And I'm just like, why do y'all get so much joy by announcing over and over and over again that this man didn't want Zadia? Because that's oversimplifies the situation anyway. I think a lot of times they feel like, okay, yeah, he didn't want Zadia. So that, I don't know, does that make other people feel better? I don't know. I see that all the time. And so then by doing that, they excuse all of Cam's stuff and say he's socially awkward. Next, they're going to put the man on the spectrum. I don't know what they're going to do. I see a lot of that.
And I also think like it's lazy, right? It's lazy saying that, he didn't want her. And it kind of like helps support their thesis of like how Zadia is like quote unquote crazy, right? I mean, I'm already blocked. Fuck it, we bald. Like, let me not speak with too much preservedness over here. But I think also what Zadia has to understand is, I was confused. I was very confused. She turned to him at one point and said, I would have liked for you throughout the process to say or to be honest as to like how you were feeling. And at that point, I was like, yeah, y'all at large on this franchise are gaslighting the hell out of us, because we have seen footage upon footage upon footage upon footage of this man not being clear with you. If a man is telling me, like, go ahead, go date other people, he's not interested in me. He's not interested in me. And I think what's sad about that is you expect people of a certain like age group, or if they have like experience in dating, they would know that, right? But clearly that's not the case here. So that moment was kind of like, how was that not communicated? Like, it was, when someone does not choose you, like I've said plenty of times before on this channel, if they have not chosen you, then you can pretty much assume it is a no. Like, they do not want to be here. And so I was very like sad for Zadia, because I felt like, how many times does this man have to like not be bold in his stance where he is with you for you to kind of like finally conceptualize that this is not where you should be? It's exhausting. It's overall exhausting. And I can still feel bad for her in that moment, because I think like, when you have so much self-work left to do within yourself, you're going to make wrong decisions in dating. You're going to choose people who you feel like you have to fight for, because that makes you think like, oh, I changed his mind. That means something is great about me. That does something to their ego. And it's sad. It's like, I don't think love is supposed to be that difficult. I don't think you're supposed to war with the person that you're with. I think it should be an easy choice. But there are some people out there who literally have this idea and this notion that if I fight with him to get him to choose me, that means I'm the shit. Like, I'm that bitch. Excuse my language. So it's frustrating. This whole situation was frustrating. I think Cam is definitely a villain, and I think Zadia dropped the ball in standing on business, as they love to say. 10 toes down, standing on business. And while Cam was not direct with his words and being definitive, I think the absence of his choice pretty much showed us his choice. So
my first red flag was when he was like, when she was like, I want to know about your past. And he was like, nah, we're not talking about that, baby girl. Like, that whole energy, like, he let her know from the gate, I'm doing what I want to do, and either you come along or move along. And she basically took the bait. It felt like whatever happened on that first night, I don't know. I just, they was in the car all night talking or whatever. It was a lot of fun, obviously, because for him to keep on saying that he was so busy would have threw me. If that didn't throw me, if that wasn't the person that threw me, the so busy would have threw me, because what you're not about to do is be acting like you're doing me no damn favor. Like, okay, well, if you're so busy, let me free you so I can go on some more dates. There's plenty of other dudes here that, maybe I don't like everybody, but I'd rather that than be sitting here begging you to keep showing up. Like, bye-bye. See you later. And he did the Bill Bellamy How to Be a Player, basically on her. It's a funny scene in that movie where he was like, the girl called the phone on the movie, and she's like, what are you doing? He was like, just got through, messing with this big booty girl I was with last night or whatever. He was, but he tried to, you're so crazy, you're hilarious, and it's like, haha, but I'm not lying though. So he was keeping it 100 per se, but also not running off when she would tell him, like, so do you want to leave? He kept staying there. And I'm like, well, why are you staying if you're saying you're so busy and you really wish that she would go on some more dates? Well, for her to go on more dates, she has to leave. You have to be gone. You can't be the keeper. So that was the other piece. Whereas, like, to Seaway's point, he was playing at everybody's face by making it seem like he was, just happy. Every time she picked him, he's like, "Yay, I'm still here." And it's like, Negro, you were not happy. You were not going to let you go so bad, or whatever. And that was just annoying. And it was making me mad because I'm thinking she's definitely going to let him go this time. Like, no way she's going to keep him every time. I was like, she's going to let him go. I was hoping when the teacher dude came after that scene, I can't remember exactly what it was, but whatever he did, I was like, nah, she's going to have to let this dude go. Like, you can't keep your head up if you keep, like you just can't like have any more pride left if you choose this dude again. And she chose him, and I just was like, this is a joke. Like it was a joke. It was not realistic. And I can't believe that in real life she would have done this. Like I just can't believe that in real life you would really have picked this dude this many times and kept on fooling with this man. Like I just couldn't. And the gaslighting piece was huge when she said, "I wish you would have told me." I just was like, I can't take this reunion anymore. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I wish you would have told me. That it was just a lot. So all of that was pissing me off. Cam was definitely playing dumb and acting like, I told you. It was straight F-boy behavior, basically. It's the I told you that I don't have time, blah, blah, blah. And obviously the way he left was awkward and weird. And I just felt like they both were very unrealistic to me. Like it felt like, are we just dragging this along to drag it along? Because there really is no reason for her to continue to pick this man. Like there's nothing. There's literally nothing he could. I don't care if I'm digmatized. I don't care what it is. I ain't never been that digmatized in my life for no man to be telling me to go date other people or whatever. And I'm gonna be okay. Peace. I'm out of here. I'll suffer without it. I'll dream about it later, or whatever. But I'm gonna have to walk away. Like there's no way. Like my pride would not let me. It just wouldn't let me do it. I'm walking off. I'm gonna have to just go cry in the pillow because I can't do it. But that's just me. I thought she would have been like that though. Like I really felt like she had that energy. From this, it made me feel a way like, damn, maybe she don't have that energy. Like she really let this happen. I'm thinking something's gonna happen where at the end she's gonna flip it and be like, yeah, nah, think again. I thought she was gonna pull like how she came for Sharice with the kissing LJ line. Like I thought she was gonna be like, he been playing with me this whole time, and I'm gonna just stab him at the end, and it didn't happen. So I hated it, and I hated the whole thing. I was like, it just, I just couldn't have let it go down like this, especially on national TV. Like, nah, bro, you're not about to do that. I'm gonna pick one of these other dudes that I probably really don't even like, just on GP, because I can't let you do me like this. Like, but my pride is a little more.
But she did though. She was sprung, and I mean, you saw the vignette. I don't feel like going on a date with anybody else. Cam is the only one on my mind.
And I wouldn't. I said, I don't care how strong I am. On principle, I would have to be like, where the principal at?
Yeah, even when they brought everybody back around, she was like, I just can't. All I think about is Cam. All I think about is Cam.
And his hair was pissing me off every scene. I was so over him, and that big ass chain was really annoying. I was like, you're corny. You keep wearing this same shirt with this chain out. It was really annoying. Like he definitely was doing it. And I'm like, what is this money counter situation? I don't think I ever mentally did he even explain that? Because I'm thinking, who has a money counter? Like, are you
for his cryptocurrency business?
And I'm like, cryptocurrency is not currency. Like, are you a drug dealer? Are you a street pharmacist? Is that what he was trying to tell us the whole time? Y'all look here thinking he's a real pharmacist, and he's a street pharmacist. That's why he got
Doctor of the streets.
Remember, he has the photography business too, so maybe he gets paid in cash.
You ain't getting that much cash. You work at the club. He work at day parties.
IRS is gonna start knocking on his door in a minute.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, look, this is why we tell you guys no one should like anyone more, right? So the man shouldn't like the woman anymore, and the woman shouldn't like the man anymore, because this is what happens. No, it ain't false, Seaway. It ain't false, because this is when dynamics are off. People's judgment gets cloudy because she so liked him, and this is what happens when you overlook. You're so willing because you compromise yourself, the boundaries you put in place, because you just like the person so much. The ladies ain't got to be the ones that listen to me, because y'all can be a delulu if you want to. I'm talking to men because it's y'all out there trying to peddle that story. And we see what happens to men when they get involved with women that they like, that they like more than the women like them, and then the women run them all up and down the street, be having babies with other guys, and the man that loves you is raising the baby. So it don't work on both sides. No, we should have a mutual consideration and love and care for each other. When the tails are tipped, first of all, it's built on insecurity. It's built on the fact that, oh, I think I need to have him in check, so if he likes me more, I don't have to worry about what he's going to do. That man can still love you more, but that don't mean he ain't going to cheat on you. That don't mean he ain't going to run you up and down the block either. So all of that paradigm, that's built on a fallacy. So anyway, I do think Cam does own some of this, because you have to be clear. And for me, how I see it is, he said just enough to not be denied access. And this is sometimes what happens with us men. We'll do that. And we will say enough just so that we don't get denied access, and that you can never come back to us and say you weren't honest or I wasn't honest, right? So I think that's definitely what was at play here. He does his words. He could say some things that could hurt somebody's feelings. The way he comes out with his words, and I don't know that that's his intention. Just like we gave Stormy a whole lot of unmerited grace, we can give him just a little ounce. I don't know if that's his intention to hurt Zadia the way he hurts her with his words, but I do think underneath that there is some truth. There is some truth in terms of how he feels about his time, because what will happen is if he continues to do all those things with his time, resentment builds, because you see how he calls out the things that he does when he does them, because it's almost like he's begrudgingly doing the things that he is doing for her. So that's unfortunate. And lastly, with Zadia, but what I got to say about her is, and everybody has said it, everyone has said it, she does not listen. Even her own good friend Camille, who, congratulations again to them, her and Cornelius are engaged right now. So hey, listening, I'm gonna read a quick definition. Y'all know I love definitions. Listening involves a complex, effective cognitive and behavioral process. In order to listen, it includes attending, understanding, receiving, and interpreting content and relational messages. It is a skill for resolving problems. Poor listening leads to misinterpretations, thus causing conflict and dispute. So when you don't listen, these are the things that happen. So that's where I'm going to land my plane.
We shall not be groomed.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be groomed by y'all either with that terrible message y'all selling.
We shall not be groomed.
So can I quickly say something? Do y'all remember the principal, not the teacher, the principal that they put on a date with Zadia?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved for her to give that guy a chance.
That's
Like,
what
some people might call him corny or what have you. I thought he was handsome. I thought he was very intentional. He was very honest with his intentions. And that is a great example of someone who is ready and who's going to choose you. Right?
But she didn't choose him the first time, so they let him go around. You talking about that one, the one that came back again? Because a couple of principles. Because she didn't give him the chance the first time. Remember, she chose Jabari. She'd rather go out on a date with Jabari than the principal the first time. And then
I think that here's a problem, right? Well, I'm not gonna fault her for that in the beginning, because I think at that point they didn't have conversations with these men, so she wasn't able to see his personality or hear him. But I think when she finally went on the date with him and she was able to hear that this man was stating his intentions clearly, I think at that point there had to be some evaluation done, right? So like, here's the man who is telling me he wants marriage, he likes me, he wants to be serious. Let's explore this, versus a man who, yeah, he's shown interest, but every other word is, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. So I would have loved for her to kind of just like open up her options and be more attracted to stability versus like that chase, that like bad boy, ooh, can't get that guy, that thrill. It gets old at a certain point. Like,
I'm gonna use Aries' word. She was already, by that time, she was already stigmatized.
1 second. I think at one point, every woman wants security. And I think Zadia wants security, but I don't think she knows how to execute that. And I don't think she has the tools to really, like, get to that secure space.
Yeah, but like I said, at that time she was already stigmatized. I'm gonna use Aries' word, right? Because at that time she was already I'm just kidding, allegedly. I'm gonna use allegedly. Sorry, allegedly. I'm not gonna put Aries. Allegedly, she was already in too deep with Cam. I'm gonna put it that way. She was already in too deep with Cam. Allegedly. If this guy would have came back earlier, maybe if he would have had that conversation earlier, right? Because I think we talked about it. The cameras had him shy the first go around. He was interviewing her. He wasn't relaxed and comfortable. The second time I go around, he was more relaxed, more comfortable, more himself. If he would have presented that the first time, I think remember, she chose him, right? She selected him out of all the pool. So by her, she just didn't like the conversation. And then if he would have had that conversation the first time, we might not even be talking about Cam, because she might have chose him and stayed with him, but he just couldn't relax and be comfortable. And Cam was comfortable and relaxed with the camera, and he gave Zadia what she wanted, allegedly.
That was the week I was talking about that she should have not picked Cam. I was like, okay, we're on to something new. You know the principal now. Great conversation. He sounds ready. If she picked Cam today, like, just forget it. She's gonna pick him forever. That was that week that I was thinking of.
Absolutely. It's a shame. It's such a shame, it's such a shame. But I just wanted to supplant this piece of, subjective evidence, guys. Let me just say this. What you witness from Cam is one of the greatest games you can ever play in the gaming world. Using truth as your weapon while simultaneously leaving all accountability on the person called Zadia is one of the greatest games you can ever play. See, when you want to be an F-boy, you have to understand this is the highest level you can play. See, there are levels to the games. Some people lie, some people cheat, some people manipulate, some people do those things, right? But this game is a different style of game that Cam plays. He uses truth. He uses your own desire against you, all right? And then he puts all accountability on you. And here's why the accountability is not on Cam and it's on her. Well, if I tell you I'm busy and I show up, I do understand that is where the manipulation exists, right? So the manipulation exists. We call this the emotional F-boy, where I put myself in places that emotionally fill your tank. I'm going to turn up. I'm going to have deep conversations. I'll kiss you on the forehead. I'm going to hold you. Your birthday is very important to me. I'm going to do everything that a boyfriend or a husband would do, except fully commit. And then I'm going to give you also the poison that's going to help us keep distance in the relationship, which is I'm going to let you know that I unfortunately can't commit, but I'm not going to say commit. Because if I say those words, it's going to spark something in your brain. What I'm going to tell you is I don't have the time to be able to do the commitment aspect that you want me to. But whenever you call, I'm going to always be, you know what I mean? I'm always going to be there, right? So what that does to the brain when somebody desires something and they want it more, so much, so badly that they're not willing to really take stock of what's happening in front of them, okay? They let their desire run ahead of them instead of the logic. At that point, yes, Zadia will be accountable because I have to use your desire for me against you. I have to use the fact that you're desperate to want it against you in that aspect, right? Because this is not a mutual thing. Mutuality would be that you want a little situation, I want a little situation. This ain't it. Zadia wanted more than the situation. This is what happens in situationships when somebody wants more than the other person does. And so what he did, he used the truth okay? And then he let it be known that he didn't have the time, and now there's nothing that could be held accountable. I know we want to hold him accountable. I can't hold him accountable because he told the truth. And so Zadia now, where she's going to feel frustrated is, and this is where people get locked up sometimes, it's almost like when you've been conned and you realize you've been conned, what do you do? Some people get embarrassed and go, do you know what, I got conned, and leave it alone. Some people get conned and they're like, I'm going to go deeper because I'm already here, so I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to wind myself in. And that's what Zadia did. She goes, I'm going to go even deeper. And to someone like Cam who's playing that kind of game, that's beautiful. That is perfect. We appreciate that. Come on in, you know, carry your ass in. Continue, get deeper while you can, because all the while I'm going to keep telling you, I don't want you. And if you can't hear that, now I'm not going to say it directly, I don't want you. I'm going to tell you, I'm busy, or I've got things going, or I've got my business going on. You know, I'm building my empire. You can see I'm doing my things in NOLA. You know what I mean? You want me to move to DC? I can't move to DC because, you know, I'm doing my thing here. I'm going to keep giving you excuses, but I'm not going to outright tell you a complete no. Because if I do, it's going to end the game. I have to hold a healthy tension in this game. And that's what makes it very painful. So when Zadia tried to flip it in the reunion, there was actually no space for her to flip it because the evidence is all there in what we've seen every week, that he kept on telling you, in all honesty, I ain't got the time for it. So because of her hard hearing and her own desire to want to have this man more than she was actually listening to what he's saying, it led her down that path. So unfortunately, it's going to come down to this. Zadia, next time somebody tells you that they ain't got the time for you or whatever excuse it is, if it's not a yes, in fact, let me give you this, the PEW, position expectation once, you know? The position is you like Cam, right? Your expectation is you wanted a relationship. If his W is that I ain't got the time, it's a no. Because anything but a yes is a no. Any other excuse but yes is a no. And at that point, you have to learn how to walk away from that situation. But you know what about Zadia too? She don't like losing. She really thought she can win. She thought she could turn him, right? She thought she was playing reversey. Baby, this ain't it. This ain't it. Let it go. Okay? So, you know, shout out to my boy Cam for the expertise game, showing us how it's done on the screen. Okay, brother, you got to wave it, and I'm with you, brother.
Don't
okay?
follow in his footsteps, y'all.
Listen, that's a brother right there. I saw myself in him.
I'm gonna tell you the only way you can't follow in this footsteps right here is that Zadia is a perfect candidate for this type of brother or person, because she stays in the gray. I told y'all, when you like to live in that little gray area, you like to tell lies to people. It makes it hard for you to have discernment on who's telling you the truth and standing by their truth. So it was a perfect pair for disaster. I can't even. I mean, I'm just mad that, you know, I was defending this man thinking he was over here just being stand up and telling all the truth. Meanwhile, his actions was telling the rest of the ladies some more dark arts. So he even a little better than I thought he was. You know what I'm saying? He brought the whole team in. You gotta watch that man right there, boy. He good.
And that's why, to me, I've always been more focused on him, because I feel like we're on this panel and we're up here to try to help people dodge what is the not so obvious red flags. It's very easy for most of the people who are on this panel and who follow this channel to dodge Pookies and Ray Rays, right? That's what we like to talk about. That's easy for most of us, I think, who are subscribed to this channel. What's really difficult is to spot people like Cam and to know and to be able to ascertain if you're exhibiting traits that Zadia was exhibiting on this show. Because to just make it easy and be like, Zadia lacks discernment or Cam didn't want her, both things that are somewhat true, right? They both have, I mean, her lack of discernment is key, but I think what Kojo just dropped is a gem. And I'm not going to repeat it because it was perfectly stated. But folks like Cam, what he was doing was very manipulative. And he had a goal just like Zadia had a goal. And their two goals led to what we got to. Because Zadia didn't want to lose. And she wanted her fairy tale story to say, hey, this man said he was so busy, but guess what? Now he my husband and all worked out. That's what she wanted to be able to say. And he wanted to be able to stay on the show, get the goodies, and vibe out and enjoy the process because he was having a good time. So they both were allowing this ring around the rosy to go on. And this is where we got to. But to say that Cam was direct, you are missing a major red flag. You're missing the major keys that was going on. Because I see so many women. I watch them on Kendra G all the time. That's the last thing I'm going to say. They be like, I didn't know. After they mess around and have 2 kids by the man or a kid by the man, I didn't know that he was a narc. I didn't know he was a cheater. I didn't know he was a liar. I didn't know. Because a lot of times they would say, oh, these men were great men. You're not paying attention to the like what Kojo broke down. You're not paying attention. You can't be moved by someone who's an alleged doctor, photographer, businessman,
But
so
unstable in all his ways.
Got to pay attention.
So, and this is why it's so frustrating when there's certain channels, not yours, of course, Kojo, but certain people on the internet that were encouraging Zadia to continue on with Cam because they thought Cam was being genuine. And when you call that type of behavior out, you're called bitter, you're called angry, you're called all the names in the book. I remember on a previous live that I was on, someone was like, oh, Arab was only calling out Cam because she's not over the men that did that to her. It's not projection, it's foresight, right? When you've experienced men who have played with you time and time again, you start to pick up on behaviors that they look similar and you can see them from a mile away. So we're not projecting, we are literally using our experience to help prevent people from going through the same thing. If I can give you guidance and say, hey, sis, this is what this looks like, right? I know you might not have the tools to kind of call it out, but I've been there, done that. So let me put you up on game. I don't understand how that can be contextualized as bitterness when it's really like, yo, I've been played too many times to count. So I know the signs. I know the red flags that appear pink to other people. So it can be frustrating sometimes and you feel almost like alone. And one thing about me, I'm gonna always be transparent. Like life is the greatest teacher. Experience is the best teacher. Had I not been through certain situations with men giving me the runaround and being in perpetual situationships, like, this is why we want Zadia to kind of like listen, not only with her ears, but with like, you know, her spirit. If you are constantly asking this man for security, if you are constantly asking, where do we stand? In your spirit, you know, it's not a true yes. In your spirit, you can feel that something is off here, right? Don't ignore that feeling. Don't listen to the people who are saying, oh, give him time. You can kind of like use him for your business. You know it feels wrong. Like, let's keep it a stack. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it a hundo, all the terms, all the things. So, you know, it's frustrating, but it's like, I think she'll get it eventually. And to everyone watching who they're kind of like scared to have those tough conversations about like, what do you want? What do I want? And if y'all can't meet in the middle, then, you know, you got to be willing to walk away. If you're not, enjoy the sex, enjoy the companionship, enjoy all the things. Just don't cry about it because you knew what you signed up for. But, you know,
the walk away is the hardest part, I think. That's where your self-respect, your self-esteem, your value, all that stuff comes in, where you're like, you're not about to play with me. Like, I asked you, you're not answering me, or you're giving me this runaround answer or whatever, or you're giving me the answer to my face. And it is what it is. Though you're saying you want to spend time, I'm seeing the contradiction. I need to, for myself, I don't need him to tell me he's ready to leave. I don't need to keep asking him. So you saying you don't want to be here? Stop asking him. Make the decision for him. stop asking. But you have to take that step to say, I'm gonna have to turn my back, and walk all the way off, because there is no other way to do it right. You have to just walk off, and that's the lesson. But sometimes we're like, I don't want that to be the lesson, because I still want to enjoy the parts that I do get to have. She was already feeling, I don't like none of these other dudes. He's the only one I like spending time with, or whatever it is. And she wasn't willing to give that part up. If you're not willing to give that part up, then you're going to keep getting dragged along. You have to be willing to walk off. If you're not willing to walk off, it will last for as long as you let it last, or you get embarrassed, one or the other.
Yep. But guess what? Guess how this all gets resolved? Because Cam can be a master manipulator, but his master manipulation needs someone to not be paying attention and not listening. So if you don't listen, you won't be in this entanglement. So unfortunately, she's a victim of her own self. And had she listened to what he was really saying, she wouldn't have been played. So they both played a role. And unfortunately, it didn't work out the way she wanted to work it out. And listen, and look, listen. That's why listening is so good. Because there's one thing to hear somebody, because I can hear what you say, because that's just sounds passing through my eardrums. But if I'm not listening and processing and paying attention to the words that you use, then if I don't want to do that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how well I can know about somebody else. It doesn't matter how I can know how somebody is good at victimizing people or manipulation. But if I don't want to hear it, if I don't want to listen rather and comprehend what's happening in front of me, I'm just going to keep duplicating that cycle. And I think for me, that's why I continue to circle back to Zadia. And I only wish her the best. But I think like ultimately you have to sit and really deal with yourself. And what people get really comfortable doing is talking about other people. And maybe everybody's not a believer, but that's why the Bible is very clear about who to pull what out of, right? You pull the log out of your own lie before you look at the splint in someone else's. And that's for a reason. Because if you spend so much time, we can diagnose somebody's personality, call a guy a narcissist, but that takes the steam off of us. Because then that means I just was a victim of a narcissist. I just was a victim of a guy who just totally manipulated me. And I didn't do anything. And I was just sitting here trying to have a good old relationship. And they just, every guy I slept with, this is why I get sick of some of those people on there with all the baby daddies. But it took you. The baby wasn't created by themselves. You want to talk about, guys cheating. They're not cheating by themselves. They're not jerking off in a corner. They got somebody to cheat with. You know what I mean? So like, let's just be clear. Let's not, we could call out behavior all day long, but if we don't hold ourselves accountable for the mistakes that we make and the things that we avoid, the things that we don't want to see because it actually benefits us too, then we're never going to get any better, because I can make it about everybody else. And then that's the easy way out. I can just skate on out of it.
Fact, Sean, and I think that's why even though Seaway has that valid point of looking at Cam, we stayed on Zadia so long or whatever, because if a person is telling you their truth and you keep denying it, you give them that gray area to keep playing it. It makes it hard for Cam to sit there. If Cam sit there and say, I'm too busy, and I say, okay, well, I'm moving on. Guess what? He can't do anything no more. His game is done. But so this is when we say we're talking to Zadia, we're not just talking to Zadia, we're talking to ourselves. We're talking to the people out here who does this. Because sometimes we do encounter people who are telling us their truth, but we have our own scenario, our own story in our head that we want. We have this whole vision that how we want it, and we're not listening to them. And then at the end, when the relationship don't go well, we want to turn and look at them when the truth is they told us from get-go, we are not what they wanted. And here we are now mad. And instead of being mad at ourselves, like Sean said, and looking at ourselves and how we get here, we want to blame everybody else. Then we walk into the next relationship and do the same exact thing. So if you find yourself in this cycle, this is your time to look at this moment through somebody else's lens and say, you know what, let me stop this behavior. Let me check myself. When people tell me who they are, let me take that for face value and stuff. And I know with the confusion, listen, I'm confused because I didn't see the things that Cam was doing outside it. All I can go by his word. So that's where I'm gonna stay at. If this man keep telling you he don't want you, well then go and be about your business. Go and be about your business, because when he's telling me he's too busy for me, that tells me you don't want me. Because I know people make time for things that they want. I don't care if you keep showing up to me. If I was in the room with him or in the room with Cam, and I'm pretty sure this is what Sharice saw before, because I think Sharice had told her about it. If I was there in that moment, I would have told her, like, nah, even though he keep doing stuff for us, his mouth keep telling you he don't want you. I don't know why he doing stuff for you, but if you want to keep messing with him, do you, sis? But he don't want you. But I can only go off of what I see on TV, and I see this man tell her at every turn he don't want her, and I watch his body language every time she took him back. Every time she chose him, his body language sunk in the chair like, damn. That was enough for me. So
this is where her and Sharice being friends would have went great, because she was on it. She's like, he got too many excuses. He is, like, absolutely not. Just like she did her dude. Bye, see ya. And he got it together and got back, right? But I also think, again, back to what we were saying, is that if you don't want to see it, you're not going to see it. You know how many times that, I've had those times where I'm like, I'm purposely ignoring what you're saying because I want what I want in this moment. I don't care what you're saying. So if you have your own agenda, you're going to just keep going forward. But if you know, like, that's why I'm like, quit asking this man what he wants. He's telling you. When he came to for breakfast, you knew that man was ringing that doorbell because he was trying to get free. Like, and then you're like, so do you want me not to pick you? Do you want me not to whatever? And it's like, why do you keep asking this? Like, he's saying it. He is saying it. And so you have to just take it and get out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. I recently had an incident where I picked up on, like, just language that this dude was using, like, and I'm like, okay. Like, the first time he said something, it was like a controlling comment, something about me. I had red lipstick on, and he said something like, yeah, we not gonna be wearing red lipstick or something like that. And I was like, well, you shouldn't wear red lipstick. It wouldn't look good on you, whatever. So then I let that. It stayed here. But then the next time he said something, it sounded controlling. Like there was like a undertone to what he was saying. I was like, yeah, nah, you're done. See you later. Like, I'm not even about to play in that field. When you know it's something that you want, or you have a direction that you're going, if you say, I want a committed relationship, and this person is not talking the way you want them to talk, and they're playing these games, you got to cut that off immediately. That's the hardest part for a lot of us to do. And I think that we think that, oh, if we walk away, oh man, I'm not going to meet anybody else that makes me feel this way or makes me, happy or whatever. And you will. You will. You always will. So I don't know. I think that's the hard. I know for me, that had been the hardest part, is to actually trust the walk off. Like, trust that when you walk off, I know right now you think this is great. It's not good for you. And when you walk away, it will open the door for something else, to come your way. So you just got to be okay with saying nah, and if you're not, now you're going to have to wait until it gets to the point that something not good is going to happen. It's going to be a bigger conflict or whatever if you wait until it kind of explodes. And I would not want that to happen on national TV if it was me. But however.
Yeah, I think sometimes the last point is sometimes you got to listen to your cornerman. What makes a great fighter is he's able to listen to the people in his corner. And what Zadia didn't do, she didn't listen to the people in her corner. When Camille came and told her about Cam, she should listen to the person in the corner. Should have listened to. I know her and Sharice wasn't friends, but sometimes people on the outside see better than the person that's actually in the midst of doing it. And if she would have listened to the people who saw what was going on and see how he was playing her, she would have saved herself some of that embarrassment on national television. She would have saved herself. She might actually found somebody that was good, like the principal guy, but she didn't listen to the people that was giving her the advice, right? But I got to blame Tanika on this too, because she was gaslighting Cam. She was loving some Cam, and she told Zadia, "Hey, he's good for you. He's a good guy. That Cam's a great guy." So she was fooled. To be an expert, to be the matchmaker, Cam had her fooled because she was pushing Zadia that way. So, the objective is find some good corner men or good corner girls, and let them look and see what you don't see while you're in the midst of that, and believe them. Great fighters have great cornermen.
Yeah, I love that, Glenn. This is my last point. I love what you said about listen to your cornermen, and sometimes the best people to trust is those on the outside. I'm laughing at myself because of what I'm about to say, but I had a few friends, not just one, a few friends wring me by my neck because at one point I was dating a failing Afrobeat artist, and man,
Not a Robert Afrobeats guy.
No, but I use this example because it's a perfect example, right? Like I could have sworn he was going to be the one, but it didn't. It took me having to have sit downs with my friends and being out of that situation, being removed from that situation, to realize like I was shortchanging myself with this person. And of course, in the moment, it sucked, right? Because you want your friends to trust your judgment, you want your family members to trust your judgment. But I'm a whole, and I hate qualifying myself, but I'm a whole doctoral candidate with so many other names and hats, and I was with a failing Afrobeat artist. Like sometimes your friends have to wring you by your neck. Sometimes they have to remind you that you're that chick. So I say that to say, when Zadia watches these back, I hope she doesn't take offense to it, but realize you are beautiful. You can find, and this is not to say Cameron's a dusty because he's not a dusty, but you can find someone who will give you the time, whose excuse is not going to be every 5 minutes, I don't have the time to be with you. I think that's kind of like the sentiment here is this message is not to hurt you, but it's to uplift you and hold you to standards that you set for yourself. So that's my last point.
Anyone else want to get the last point? Who has given it? If you haven't given it? No? Okay, then I'm going to let Sean do what he do best. Deacon, benediction. It's been a great conversation, can't lie to you. You held over 500 people's attention for the last 3.5 hours, so shout out to y'all.
Well, I think we had a wonderful, dynamic conversation tonight. For the Ready to Love, Ready to Move folks. I know many of y'all watch. I hope you received our message in love. We wrapped it in a nice, warm, weighted blanket, as somebody told me is the best new blanket that's on the market right now. So we wrapped it in a weighted blanket. We really want the best for y'all. But I think some of the major lessons that we took away from here, and we'll start with our good sister Vern, and I think correcting the past from our, the mistakes from our past dating is always important, but we should keep an eye on overcorrection, because overcorrection can lead to overcompensation and also misdirected anger at the wrong people. So we just want to be cautious of that. Also, in relationships, we want to be aligned with our partners, right? We want to be on the same page from the very beginning, so that we have no room for confusion. And I think we saw some confusion with Cam and Zadia. So yeah, there was a lots of room for confusion. And then, you know, we discussed it, and I think everybody made great points about listening, right? We have to listen, take in the examples, hear the words, process it correctly, take in what the words of the person we're with is saying, and also the good counsel of some close, trusted people, and really truly hear it and sit on it, right? We can't just be hearing, but we need to listen to have better outcomes. I think Shareese showed us best. We all settle, right? And there's nothing wrong with compromising. You shouldn't compromise your standards, but there's nothing wrong with compromising on your preferences, right? You know, because we all have things that we are working on, and we're not going to be perfect for everybody, but we can be a perfect match for someone, which is so important. And then last but not least, accountability is key, and it starts with me, right? So that accountability, it starts with you. It's great to see the flaws that others have done to you, but the mirror should always start with you looking into it and looking at yourself so that you can have better outcomes. Back to you, Coach.
As always, powerful stuff from our Deacon. Listen, audience, thank you so much for joining us. You know, we'll be back again because obviously Ready to Love officially starts again. I think it's Dallas as well. So I'm hearing there's a little bit of carnage in this season too. So it looks like we're going to have more talking points to break down for you guys as well. So look, stick with us. You know, we'll keep these panels going as well. And yeah, we're going to have some really great conversations coming next week. But thank you so much for you guys who came out 500 strong, listening to us for 3.5 hours as well. It's good vibes, a good conversation, and a good time as well. So, all right, listen, we'll see you soon. And I will have some more interviews lined up. I have spoken to Cam. I have spoken to Don. I'm going to try and get more Myzel as well, and Maurice as well. So we'll get those interviews locked in. I think Don's going to be on Wednesday, so we'll try and get Cam locked in as well. So, but you know he's busy, so it'll be a little difficult to get him in. Okay. All right, listen, guys. Appreciate y'all. I'm laughing, but generally he's actually left me on red, so he's very busy. But listen, guys, we'll see you very, very soon. No, he actually answered. He said he will do it. I'm joking with you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you again very, very soon. Have a nice